Chapter 26. Holy Garden. Sacred and peaceful. Zeus, the king of Olympus, and Hera, the queen of Olympus, once held a grand wedding here under the blessing of Gaia, the mother goddess of the earth, witnessed by all the gods. The last time I came to the Holy Garden, Queen Hera was under the golden apple tree. Asked Zhou Yuan to whip her hard. Today, Zhou Yuan came to the Holy Garden again, and under the golden apple tree again. He personally put on the artifact destiny mask for Hera. At that moment, Hera saw the threads of destiny. The threads of destiny wove her destiny network. After a slight pause, the eyes of the once and now most honorable queen of Olympus lit up instantly. Master, please punish your little dog hard. Queen Hera turned around, knelt under the golden apple tree, and made a request from the deepest part of her soul. Snap! Zhou Yuan took out the whip. The blood of the Titan ancestor burned at this moment. He had no mercy. A whip was lashed at the back of the Queen Hera. Blood immediately splattered, flying to the golden apple tree. Gorgeous. Strange. Punishment. Punishment. Blasphemy against the Queen of Olympus. Blasphemy against the Holy Garden of Olympus. Hell. Outside the prison of Tartarus, black fog filled the air. In the black fog, Athena secretly met with the mother goddess Gaia. That oriental man absorbed the bottle of life and the chaos rune. The three goddesses of fate were also contaminated by his life seeds. The three goddesses of fate have been conquered by him. Mother goddess Gaia, your plan failed. That oriental man is difficult to control. Mother goddess Gaia, my suggestion is to invest in that Spartan. The Spartan is also the son of destiny. The three goddesses of fate once revealed some of the past of that Spartan. In the future of a certain timeline, that Spartan not only killed Zeus, but also killed the god king of the bitter cold land in the north. That Spartan, he is worth investing in. I believe in destiny, the Spartans are destiny, and that oriental man can only be regarded as a variable. Athena whispered. Nyx is about to wake up. Mother goddess Gaia responded after a moment of silence. Nyx. Nyx, the goddess of night. Nyx, the daughter of chaos. Athena's eyes lit up, nodded slightly, and her figure disappeared. Heh. As soon as Athena left, a cold laugh sounded, and a black shadow appeared at the entrance of Tartarus prison. Hades! Gaia roared. The number of destiny, the son of destiny. You all underestimated the ambition of my good brother Zeus, and also underestimated the number of destiny of my good brother Zeus. As for the annihilator that Hera found, he won't be able to jump around for long. The black shadow shook his head lightly, without even looking at Gaia, and disappeared into the darkness. The Holy Garden. It was in a mess. At this moment, there was no sacred peace. At this moment, there was only depravity. The Holy Garden seemed to have become a paradise for succubi. Ding! Advertisement. You have obtained 100,000 God King powers. Your power level has been upgraded to a high-level God Emperor. As soon as Zhou Yuan opened his eyes, a mysterious voice appeared in his mind. This? The warlord entry was triggered again? The scale of the war in the Eastern world has expanded again? Zhou Yuan blinked. Ding! You have obtained 200,000 God King power. Ding! You have obtained 300,000 God King power. Ding! You have obtained 500,000 God King power. Again, warlord entries are triggered continuously. What's going on? This is too exaggerated. Will the original gods personally participate in the war in the Eastern world? Ding! You have obtained 1 million God King power. Your power level is upgraded to the peak God Emperor. Your super primitive Protoss entry has gained new features. Your original God's physique has changed. You have the perception and smell of the original God level. Warlord entry is triggered again. This time it is also linked to the super primitive Protoss entry. This, domineering. The initial level of the Warlord entry is gold, and the effect does not look good, but the level is upgraded from gold to red, which is really domineering. The red entry is not the top entry. There is also a fantasy level above. If the Warlord entry is upgraded to the fantasy level, can it absorb divine power from wars in different dimensions and universes? Multiverse. War Master. Zhou Yuan's thoughts flashed through his mind. Swish. Suddenly he moved his eyes and looked towards the entrance of the Holy Garden. Although there was nothing there, he smelled an unusual breath. Night. That was the breath of night. Night came to the Holy Garden. Who is that? Night Goddess Nyx. Chaos Daughter Nyx. Primordial God Nyx. Zhou Yuan thought of a god. He calmly retracted his gaze and kissed the forehead of the sleeping Hera. As long as night was within 100 meters, the plundering entry would be triggered. 1 minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, 10 minutes. Ding. Suddenly, a familiar voice sounded. Chapter 27. Is it here? Is this the entry that was plundered from the goddess of night? Zhou Yuan is looking forward to it. Ding. You plundered the entry of the essence of night from the goddess of night. Essence of night, illusion as the name suggests. From this moment on, you are the essence of night. The world is divided into yin and yang, and the world is also divided into day and night. The universe is immortal, and day and night are eternal. From this moment on, you hold the power of night. Your original god characteristics are filled with the power of night. Chaos, earth, ocean, sky, night, day, filled with the 5 original gods' authority. Your original god characteristics will be completely activated, comparable to or even surpassing chaos, the god of chaos. Comfortable. The second colorful entry. A divine light flashed in Zhou Yuan's eyes, and at this moment, his original god's perception and sense of smell smelled the invisible goddess of night, floating towards the golden apple tree. Maybe it was because he had obtained the knight's body item, but he could sense Nyx's position very clearly, just 7 steps away. Nyx. Observing him, Zhou Yuan vaguely remembered that in the Greek mythology materials he had read, Nyx had absolute royal power and was the goddess Zeus feared the most. And there was another saying, Ananke, the goddess of destiny, Hermamene, the goddess of fate, Adrastea, the goddess of natural law. These 3 goddesses with transcendent divine authority. They are all clones of Nyx, the goddess of night. You can imagine how powerful Nyx is. Ding. The knight's body item has a very small chance of deriving the eternal night item. Ragnarok is not eternal night. Eternal night is above Ragnarok. Suddenly, a mysterious voice sounded in Zhou Yuan's mind again. Eternal night item. Can it be plundered directly from Nyx? Master. At this time, Hera, who was sleeping soundly, woke up. Hera's power level could not sense the existence of the goddess of night. The queen of Olympus was like a beautiful snake entangled Zhou Yuan. With a light hum, Hera began to steal Zhou Yuan's chaotic power. Boom. The holy garden shook. This holy garden that once held the wedding of Zeus and Hera. It seemed to be about to lose control and collapse. Zhou Yuan could sense the existence of Nyx. He knew that Nyx was angry. The goddess of night who had just awakened obviously did not expect that the queen of Olympus would find an oriental man to desecrate the holy garden. But soon, Zhou Yuan sensed it again. Nyx began to observe the child in Hera's belly. Doubt, curiosity, surprise. Zhou Yuan could sense Nyx's emotions very clearly. Could it be? This is also the effect of the knight's body term? Nyx is the knight's body? He is also the knight's body now? In a sense? I am Nyx? Advertisement. Hey. Zhou Yuan once again clearly sensed Nyx's emotions. No, it was not just emotions. This time it was a flash of divine thought from Nyx, goddess of night. She actually wanted to be the godmother of Hera's child. This? It's not impossible. Why not have the goddess of night as the godmother of your own offspring? Oh, master, punish me. Punish me hard. Please use your power of chaos to hit my soul hard. Hera shook her tail and begged for mercy. Boom. The holy garden shook again. Zhou Yuan smiled in his heart, and he clearly sensed that the goddess of night Nyx was angry for a moment. A cold snort. It sounded in the holy garden. Hera was confused. Woman? In the holy garden besides herself? Are there other women? The final fate of fans turned out to be Zeus. The woman's voice sounded again in the holy garden, but the woman only said half of her words and stopped abruptly. What? Fans? Isn't that the hermaphrodite god king of the Chaos Age? Hera was even more confused. Fans. Zhou Yuan searched his memory and found some records about fans. Fans, the god king of the Chaos Age, the hermaphrodite god, having both male and female characteristics. The goddess of night Nyx awakens. Is the god king of the Chaos Age about to awaken? Or will the original gods of the Chaos Age awaken? I really want to plunder the entries from Kronos, the god of time. The goddess of night left the holy garden. Zhou Yuan looked towards the entrance of the holy garden. Under his perception, the goddess of night stepped out of the holy garden. The next moment, descend into hell. descend into the temple of Hades, the god of the underworld. With a plop, Hades, the god of the underworld, kneeled. At this moment, Zhou Yuan seemed to overlap with the goddess of night. Hades in the temple of Hades deep in hell. It was as if he knelt before him. Chapter 28. Goddess of the Night, ancient and great primordial god. Are you awakening this time to restore the order of Olympus? The temple of Hades. Hades lowered his head, but Hades did not get any response. At this moment, Zhou Yuan felt extremely wonderful. He thought of a word, that is, possession. He seemed to possess Nyx, and saw the temple of Hades and Hades thoroughly. This thoroughness is more thorough than the eye of chaos. Hades, kneeling in front of him, has no secrets at all. Hades, on the surface, he competes with Zeus, but in fact, he has already joined forces with Zeus. In Hades' eyes, Zeus is the son of destiny, the destined god-king, and will open an unprecedented mythological era for Olympus. If it weren't for the possession of Nyx at this moment and seeing Hades' heart, Zhou Yuan would not have thought that Hades was so loyal to Zeus. This kind of loyalty, it even surpasses brotherhood. A little strange. Zhou Yuan scanned Hades again through Nyx's eyes, and Hades' strength was clear at a glance. Pluto, Lord of Hell, God-King level divine power. As long as Hell is not destroyed, Hades can be resurrected infinitely in Hell. To be more precise, as long as Hades is in Hell, he will basically not die, unless the original god personally destroys Hell. And the original body of Hell is Tartarus, who is also one of the original gods. It is not so easy to destroy Hell. Speaking of a kind of original gods, Gaia should be the weakest one. However, Gaia is not known for her combat power. Oh, dear master. Hera's snort interrupted Zhou Yuan's thinking. The noblest queen of Olympus collapsed on Zhou Yuan. Ding. Almost at the same time, Zhou Yuan heard a familiar voice. Ding. You plundered the Death Overlord entry from Hades, the king of the underworld. Lord of Death, read, this time the entry gives you the ability to resurrect. As long as the hell of the Olympian Protoss is not destroyed, you can revive infinitely. Huh, what's going on? Want to trigger the plunder entry? Don't you have to be within 100 meters of a certain god? I am in the Holy Garden, which is above the Olympian gods, and Hades is in hell, under the earth under the God Mountain. How could I plunder the entry from Hades from such a distance? Could it be? Zhou Yuan thought quickly. Nyx, the entry of the body of the night. Advertisement it should be. The goddess of night descended on the temple of Hades, and I have the entry of the body of the night, and I am also the night. Hades, the king of the underworld, is less than 100 meters away from Nyx, which is equivalent to being less than 100 meters away from me. This triggered the plunder entry. Isn't that right? In the future, when a certain god is within 100 meters of Nyx, I can plunder the entry from a distance? Plop. Zhou Yuan's heart suddenly accelerated. A scene appeared in front of him. The goddess of night Nyx met Chaos, the god of chaos. He didn't even have to go find the most powerful primitive gods himself. He plundered the entries from them through the air. The essence of the night. This entry. It actually has such a miraculous effect. Haha. Zhou Yuan laughed, raised his hand and slapped Hera below the waist and back, and suddenly the whole holy garden was filled with ripples. Wow! On the golden apple tree, the latest batch of fruits, all ripened and fell at this moment. Ding! Zhou Yuan just raised his hand to catch the golden apple, and a familiar voice sounded in his mind again. Could it be? He plundered new entries from Hades again? Ding! You plundered the super primitive god entry. The Death Master entry you plundered has undergone an extremely rare mutation. Death Overlord, mutation of this time. The infinite resurrection effect of the entry will not be restricted by the Olympus Protoss Hell. Even if the Olympus Protoss Hell is destroyed, you can also revive infinitely. No time limit, no place limit, even if the Olympus Myth universe is destroyed. Shocked. The entry mutates. The universe where this Greek mythology era is located is destroyed. I can also revive infinitely. Zhou Yuan's eyes widened. Wow, this entry mutation is too fierce. The color upgrade of the entry looks incomparable. If all the entries plundered before are mutated, even if the entries are no longer plundered, can you beat the god of time and the god of chaos? Slap Kronos with a slap. Stomp chaos with a foot. Chapter 29. Titan Bloodline, red. Destiny Protection, red. Heart of Wisdom, red. Golden gift, gold. Sun authority, red. Power of the earth, red. Warlord, red. Zhou Yuan briefly sorted out the entries he had plundered before. The golden gift can directly grant others the power of the Lord God. But now, Zhou Yuan has reached the peak of the Divine Emperor's power with the Warlord entry, and the effect of the golden gift entry is a bit out of date. Let alone directly granting others the Divine Emperor's power, it is not too much to grant the Divine King's power. So what can we do? Can we upgrade the golden gift entry? Or wait for a while? The entry will upgrade or mutate by itself. Zhou Yuan glanced at the golden apple tree, but did not trigger the entry upgrade. He raised his eyebrows slightly, and the chaos eye between his eyebrows opened, and he glanced at the golden apple tree again. Hey, there is a prompt. Ding. Hunting the 100-headed dragon Ladong. Golden gift item upgradable. According to Greek mythology, a 100-headed dragon guarded the Holy Garden and was later killed by Hercules. In this era of Greek mythology, Hercules has already obtained the title of Hercules, which means that the 100-headed dragon has been killed. So, where are there still 100-headed dragons? Will Ladon be resurrected? Ladon, the giant dragon with 100 heads, the son of Typhon. Typhon is a storm titan, born to Gaia and Tartarus. Gaia once trained Typhon to be Zeus's rival. Typhon and his wife gave birth to many monsters in Greek mythology. Hydra, the three-headed dog of hell, the Sphinx, the Chimera, the sea monster Scylla. What a coincidence! In Greek mythology, the Olympians are basically the descendants of Gaia. These monsters in Greek mythology are basically the descendants of Gaia. She is worthy of the title of the mother goddess. Gaia is so fertile. If Hera and the god of love are as fertile as Gaia, they can rely on the term of having many children and good fortune. If all the women of the Olympians, whether they are true gods or demigods, give me children. Zhou Yuan's thoughts flashed through his mind, and suddenly a light bulb flashed in his mind, and he thought of an idea. Let's go. Go back to the temple of Hera. Zhou Yuan picked up Hera and teleported back to the temple. Everyone. Zhou Yuan sat high on the throne, and as soon as he opened his mouth, his voice floated out of the temple and resounded throughout Olympus. Swish, swish. The Greek gods cast their eyes over. Kill your husband. What do you want to do? Oriental. Are you scared? Are you ready to walk out of the temple of Hera and confess your sins? The voices of Apollo, Hermes, and Ares rang out one after another. Olympus goddesses. I will hold the first goddess party in the temple of Hera. Just come to the temple of Hera to participate in the goddess party. Reward a golden apple. Advertisement. Reward 100 main god powers. Reward a divine weapon. Just participate in the goddess party and you can get at least 3 gifts. Zhou Yuan opened his mouth again, and his voice resounded throughout Mount Olympus again. What? Party? Goddess party? There are rewards for participating? The gods were a little confused. Damn it. You damn Oriental. You actually want to have a party on Mount Olympus. You are so hateful. All the female gods of Olympus, don't be fooled by this Oriental guy. Apollo was the first to come to his senses and scolded Zhou Yuan. Having a goddess party? Damn it. Lord Zeus occasionally goes down to the world to play in the wild, but he has never held such an event on Mount Olympus. You guys are too extravagant. Hermes' eyes widened. Damn it. That Oriental. I actually want to have a party on Mount Olympus, doing something that the king of gods Zeus has never done. It's crazy. Athena, Artemis, goddess of fertility, Hestia, the goddess of holy fire. You won't attend this goddess party held by an Oriental person just for the so-called 3 gifts, will you? Athena, Artemis, Hestia, you are the purest goddesses in Olympus. I believe you will not betray your purity. Ares' deep voice sounded, and the goddess whose name he called did not respond immediately. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. In the temple of Hera, Zhou Yuan, who was sitting on the throne, took out 9 golden apples at random, and the 9 golden apples flew out of the temple of Hera and floated above the temple. Wow, golden divine light flowed. Golden apples. Only the golden apple tree in the holy garden can produce golden apples. Queen Hera, have you ever taken this husband to the holy garden? Damn it. You and your husband didn't do anything blasphemous in the holy garden. Golden apples. These 9 golden apples contain extraordinary divine power. The eyes of the Olympian gods instantly focused on them. Wow. A figure appeared in front of the temple of Hera. Tall, beautiful, heroic. Apollo roared when he saw this figure, because this figure is his twin sister, Artemis. As one of the 3 pure goddesses of Olympus, are you going to attend the shit goddess party held by the damn Orientals? Remember your identity. Chapter 30. Oh, goddess of hunting? Artemis. She also has another name called Cynthia. 3 goddesses who remained pure in Greek mythology. Are you going to join the goddess party? Goddess of hunting. Welcome to my party. This is the first gift. Zhou Yuan laughed and waved his hand. One of the golden apples floating above the temple of Hera fell in front of the goddess of hunting. Artemis, I order you as the god of light. You are not allowed to accept the golden apple. Apollo roared. Under the focus of the gods, the goddess of hunting raised her hand and picked up the golden apple, and then swallowed it in front of the gods. No. Apollo was furious. Boom. A huge fireball fell from the sky, and the target was the goddess of hunting. The god of light Apollo actually attacked his twin sister. This is the second gift. Zhou Yuan on the throne directly used the golden gift to grant the goddess of hunting 100 main god powers. Wow! The goddess of hunting felt the infusion of divine power, and her delicate face with heroic spirit was full of shock. Divine power instantly increased 100 times. This is actually true. The Oriental man who has never shown his face in the temple of Hera. He actually did what he said. The goddess of hunting gently closed her eyes, and the next moment she suddenly opened her eyes and just raised her hand and pointed at the huge fireball falling from the sky. Wow! The huge fireball turned into fireworks in the air. Gorgeous. Beautiful. The whole of Olympus. At this moment, they were quietly enjoying the fireworks. Shocked, Hermes broke the silence. Under normal circumstances, as one of the 12 main gods, the goddess of hunting can never beat the god of light. But the goddess of hunting was so casual just now, infinitely close to the power of the king of gods. Plop, plop, plop. Hermes' heartbeat quickened. He was not only the god of thieves, but also the god of commerce. After a moment of commercial consideration, he was somewhat tempted. If possible, he wanted to become a woman. Join the goddess party held by that Oriental man. This is the third gift. Zhou Yuan, who was on the throne, grabbed the silver bow in the hand of the hunting goddess and flew into the temple. The hunting goddess was slightly stunned. The other gods were also slightly stunned. Advertisement come. Divine fire forging. Zhou Yuan had a thought flashing through his mind, and the silver bow directly evolved into a divine weapon of the god king. Come again. Chaos power. Enchant the bow of the hunting goddess. Zhou Yuan had another thought flashing through his mind, and the power of chaos enchanted the silver bow. He waved his hand and the silver bow flew out of the temple and floated in front of the hunting goddess. Swish, swish, swish. One after another, his eyes were cast on the silver bow. F***K. The breath of the silver bow. The artifact of the god king. The bow of Artemis has been upgraded from an ordinary artifact to a god king artifact. God. Oriental. Have you mastered forging skills more exquisite than the god of fire? You robbed the god of fire's wife, the goddess of love. You also robbed the god of fire's forging skills. Hermes screamed. Roar. A roar came from inside the mountain. This is the god of fire warning Hermes. Can you forge the artifact of the god king? Boom. A loud noise. Poseidon, the god of the sea, rode the sea monster to the Olympus. The trident of the sea god in his hand was an extremely powerful artifact, crushing Ares's war spear and Hercules's gloves. But no matter how powerful the trident of the sea god is, it is not a god-king artifact. Olympus has only one god-king artifact. That is the sword of Olympus made by Zeus. And today, Hera's husband killer, that Oriental man, he turned the hunting goddess's bow into a divine weapon. Who is this Oriental man? God of fire, god of craftsmen, god of forging. Your wife was robbed by this Oriental man. You were also robbed of your forging skills. You are such a poor wretch. Apollo was broken and started to curse at the god of fire. Roar. With a roar, the god of fire crawled out from the inside of the sacred mountain. Apollo, go to hell. The god of fire took out a pitch-black magic box and threw it into the sky. The pitch-black magic box opened in the air, and a huge monster with 100 heads appeared. Roar. The huge monster with 100 heads roared to the sky. Boom. The sky above Mount Olympus. Thunderclouds covered it in an instant. Laden, the giant dragon with 100 heads? As the gods were shocked, Hercules soared into the sky and crashed into the behemoth with 100 heads. I am Hercules. If I can kill you once, I can kill you a second time. Laden, the giant dragon with 100 heads? Zhou Yuan's eyes lit up on the throne, and a sly smile flashed across his face. He casually sent 10 portions of the main god's power into the behemoth with 100 heads. Die. Boom. Hercules crashed into the sky. Chapter 31. Boom. Hercules flew up to the sky. Bang. The 100-headed dragon Laden swept the tail of Hercules, who had just flown up to the sky, and was knocked unconscious by the tail and smashed into Mount Olympus. The Greek gods were stunned. Laden, the son of Typhon. How could the power of God be so strong? Damn it. Vulcan, what is the magic box you released? How could you revive this monster? Apollo scolded Vulcan. I don't know. Someone asked me to build a magic box, said that the magic box can imprison the gods, said that as long as the magic box is successfully built, help me get my wife Aphrodite back? Vulcan was also confused. Roar. The 100-headed dragon roared, and 100 heads spewed flames at the same time. Poseidon, the god of the sea, held a trident and set off a huge wave over the Olympus. For a moment, the sea god fought against the 100-headed dragon. The winner was hard to tell. The magic box. Pandora's box. Who is plotting this? On the throne of the temple of Hera, Zhou Yuan chuckled. When he heard the god of fire mention the magic box, he knew that it should be directed at him and his first offspring Pandora. Speaking of which, we should thank the god of fire. We were waiting for Laden to revive and hunt him to upgrade the golden gift entry. We didn't have any clues. The god of fire actually sent Laden to the door. However, before hunting Laden, let's test whether we can plunder the entry from this guy. Come on, get down. Zhou Yuan raised his hand in the air, and the power of chaos pulled the 100-headed dragon. The 100-headed dragon that was fighting with Poseidon fell from the sky with a bang. It just landed on the platform in front of the temple of Hera. What's more coincidental is that one of the heads of Laden is just 100 meters away from Zhou Yuan. Whoosh! The hunting goddess moved her body in surprise. What? Poseidon, the god of the sea, swept towards the temple, and the other gods of Olympus cast their eyes over. Apollo's face was gloomy, and the god of fire was angry at first, and then desperate. Killing the husband. Hera, who stole his wife, the goddess of love, killed the husband. So powerful that I don't even have the courage to fight head-on now. My wife. Aphrodite. Why betray me? The god of fire shouted in his heart. Ding! You plundered the 100 heads entry from the 100-headed dragon Laden. In the temple, Zhou Yuan triggered the entry plunder. Just this entry. It's so F*** G weird. 100 heads, gold. This entry allows any part of your body to change from 1 to 100, and you don't have to worry about not having enough. Don't worry about being treated as a freak. You can change back at any time. Puff. Zhou Yuan couldn't help but smile bitterly. He scanned the entry description and understood it immediately. Just, no one would be so bored as to conjure up 100 of those things. Alas. Laden, son of Typhon, it seems that there are no powerful entries. Kill. Zhou Yuan sat high on the throne of the Queen of Gods, with a faint smile on his face, raised his right hand and casually snapped his fingers. Boom. The 100 dragons fainted on the platform of the temple of Hera. The huge dragon bodies and the 100 heads exploded at the same time. Blood. It spread instantly. The floor where the temple of Hera is located. In the blink of an eye, it was like a layer of blood mist. Hiss. Hermes, the god of fire, and the god of the sea Poseidon instinctively stepped back, and Apollo's expression changed wildly, staring at the temple of Hera. At this moment, he was a little unsure who was the one who killed the 100 dragons. For a moment, the gods of Olympus were silent. Advertisement ding, and a familiar voice sounded in Zhou Yuan's mind. Ding. You successfully hunted down the 100-headed dragon Laden. Your golden gift entry has been upgraded. From now on, you can grant others the power of the God King at will. It's done. You can wholesale the God King. No, not wholesale the God King, but wholesale the God King's combat power. Come. Hera, goddess of love. The 3 goddesses of fate deep in the palace. And the first offspring Pandora. all endowed with the power of the God King. Zhou Yuan thought about it and used the latest upgraded golden gift to instantly create 6 God King's combat power. Goddess of Hunting, this is my 4th gift to you. Zhou Yuan opened his mouth, and his voice floated out of the temple and echoed on the gods of Olympus. What? What is the 4th gift? The gods stared at the goddess of hunting. Wow! A divine light lit up on the goddess of hunting. At this moment, the gods felt that power. The power of the God King. Impossible. God King level power. Even if it's Zeus, the God King, it's impossible for anyone to have God King level power easily. Apollo shouted wildly. Goddesses, just join the goddess party I'm hosting. You will get the 4th gift in addition to the previous 3 gifts. Zhou Yuan ignored Apollo, and his voice echoed throughout Mount Olympus again. Whoosh! The next second, a figure appeared in front of the temple of Hera. Swish, swish, swish. The gods looked over. Hermes was extremely surprised. Ku, the holy fire goddess. Both Apollo and Poseidon pursued the holy fire goddess. Both were rejected. The holy fire goddess is the purest goddess in our Olympus. As soon as these words came out, Apollo and Poseidon's faces turned black. Chapter 32. Did Apollo pursue the holy fire goddess? The holy fire goddess is Zeus's elder sister. Apollo, you are Zeus's son. You actually have the nerve to pursue your own aunt. You are really shameless. Holy fire goddess. Hestia, welcome to the goddess party. This is the gift you deserve. Zhou Yuan laughed and raised his hand. He condensed a ball of sun god fire and found a spear from the Hera temple's arsenal and forged it into a sun spear. Whoosh! The sun spear flew out of the temple. It landed in front of the holy fire goddess. Whoosh! A golden apple fell. Wow! 100 portions of the main god's power were poured into the holy fire goddess. A portion of the God King's power was poured in. The holy fire goddess Hestia's beautiful eyes widened. The thin eyelashes above her beautiful eyes fluttered. Sun spear. Another artifact of the God King. Did you really forge this, Oriental? Could it be that by taking away the wife of the god of fire, you can get forging skills that are more powerful than the god of fire? Hermes exclaimed, and he was even more moved. He couldn't help but ask, if he used magic to turn himself into a woman, could he join the goddess party? Hestia, I, Poseidon, once pursued you. You once ruthlessly rejected me. I didn't expect that you would abandon your reserve and nobility for the so-called gifts of this Oriental man today. You, the purest goddess of Olympus, have such a big contrast, which really disappoints me. Who would have thought that the purest goddess of Olympus is a contrast woman? Poseidon lowered his voice. Double standard. Contrast. What purity? What reserve? All lies. Hestia, you make me feel sick. Apollo broke his defense and cursed. My wife. The god of fire let out a wail. Why? Why an Oriental? His forging skills are so strong. His skills that he is proud of. But he is not as good as an Oriental. Is this why Aphrodite is willing to give birth to a child for that Oriental man? It is definitely not because that Oriental man is more handsome than my god of fire. 10 minutes later, Hera Temple. The goddess party is on. Who else wants to join the goddess party? Zhou Yuan's laughter echoed in Mount Olympus again. Athena, as the last of the 3 pure goddesses, you must not betray purity. As the daughter of Zeus, you must not betray Zeus. Zeus will return after he is promoted to the original god. The original god is above everything. The damn Oriental man in the Hera temple will be tortured to death in public by Zeus. Apollo stared at the temple of the goddess of wisdom. Advertisement swish. One after another, his eyes swept towards the temple of the goddess of wisdom. Athena. No response. Very good. Athena, you have protected the glory of the pure goddess of Olympus. Apollo laughed like crazy. Wow. The next second, a figure appeared on the platform in front of the temple of Hera. Athena? The last pure goddess of Olympus has also fallen? Hermes and others subconsciously thought it was Athena, but when they cast their eyes over and saw the figure clearly, they were confused again. That's not Athena. It's a goddess who looks 70% like the queen of gods Hera. What? Demeter, the goddess of abundance. How dare you betray Zeus? Have you forgotten that you are the wife of Zeus? Have you forgotten that you are also the Queen of Olympus? Apollo barked. Goddess of abundance. Have you forgotten? Your daughter is the queen of the underworld. If your daughter knew that you joined this so-called goddess party of the Orientals, what would she think? Poseidon reminded the goddess of abundance. Very good, goddess of abundance. Welcome to the goddess party. Zhou Yuan laughed and forged another divine weapon. This time, he forged a harvest sickle and sent it to the goddess of abundance. Golden apple, scythe of abundance, 100 main god powers, 1 god king power, 4 gifts for the goddess of abundance. Goddess of abundance. You are also a sign. Rotten sign. Zeus is back. You all have to die. Apollo cursed. Wow. The goddess of abundance smiled gently, holding the harvest sickle, and cut the god of light Apollo. Instantly, blood spurted from Apollo's waist below. Apollo covered his waist and screamed. Hermes was dumbfounded. F***K. Goddess of abundance. She castrated Apollo. Read books every day and have fun. Chapter 33. Castrated. Poseidon looked down subconsciously and felt a chill in an instant. He wanted to scold the goddess of fertility, but immediately erased the idea. Damn it, that Oriental man. The sickle artifact he made. It's so abominable. It must be deliberately used against the male gods of Olympus. I am a god. I have divine power. I can grow it. Goddess of fertility. Zeus will not let you go. I will never let you go. Apollo roared fiercely, and divine light shone on his body. He tried to repair the castrated part, but his divine power failed and could not be repaired at all. He panicked. No, damn it, the body of a god. How could it be impossible to repair it? The power of God cannot repair it. No, it's not that it cannot be repaired, but the sickle made by the Orientals for the goddess of abundance is a divine weapon of the god king, and its divine power level is higher than Apollo's divine power level. Unless Apollo has the power of the god king, he will always be in a state of castration. Oh, God, this is terrible. Fortunately, Hermes stayed calm. Fortunately, I don't curse casually. Hermes found out the reason why it cannot be repaired. Wow. At this time, the goddess of abundance Demeter, another wife of Zeus, the king of Olympus, and the mother of the queen of hell, she held the harvest sickle, with a gentle smile on her face, and cut Apollo again. This cut. The cutting position is exactly the same as the previous one. Blood spurting out. Apollo bleeds again at the same position. No. Apollo screamed and ran away. The male gods of Olympus trembled. Poseidon didn't hesitate at all, and drove the sea monster to dive directly and return to the sea. Blackened. The goddess of abundance has turned black. She must want to castrate Lord Zeus. Too scary. Whoosh. Hermes activated the artifact flying boots and slipped away. The god of fire said nothing, and carefully retreated to the inside of the sacred mountain and slipped back to his temple of the god of fire, the servants of the major temples. There was complete silence at this moment. Haha. Zhou Yuan laughed loudly, breaking the silence of Olympus. Sitting high on the throne of the Queen of Gods, he snapped his fingers, and the goddess of hunting, the goddess of sacred fire, and the goddess of abundance outside the temple of Hera were directly teleported into the temple. The 3 pure goddesses of Olympus, only one Athena is missing. Ding. While the 3 goddesses were still a little reserved, Zhou Yuan's eyes swept over the 3 goddesses, and only one glance triggered the entry plunder. Oh? Who did he plunder the entry from? Ding. You plundered the purity item from the holy fire goddess Hestia. Advertisement, here it comes. A voice sounded in Zhou Yuan's mind. Huh. What item? Purity? What item is this? Shouldn't it be related to the holy fire of Olympus? Zhou Yuan was stunned for a moment and scanned the detailed description of the item. Purity item, read, this is an extremely rare item. This time, the item gives you the ability to grant purity to anyone. You can even grant purity to the original gods, and there is no limit to the number of times. Puff. Zhou Yuan's face did not fluctuate much, and he burst out laughing in his heart. Granting purity to others? Isn't this equivalent to that repair surgery, or an unlimited number of repairs? Just imagine, granting purity to Gaia, the mother goddess of the earth. Weird. It's so G weird. This purity item is even more outrageous than the 100-head item plundered from the 100-headed dragon laden. I am Zhou Yuan. So pure. So serious. I can't accept this entry. Zhou Yuan sighed in his heart, and his eyes moved, looking at the goddess of hunting Artemis, and happened to look at the goddess of hunting. Goddess of hunting, daughter of Zeus, twin sister of Apollo, one of the 12 main gods, one of the 3 pure goddesses of Olympus. I should be able to plunder a serious entry from her. Ding. Got it. Ding. You plundered the hunting lord entry from the goddess of hunting Artemis. Not bad. The name of this entry sounds very serious. Hunting lord, gold. This time the entry makes you the master of beasts and wilderness. The beasts in the area ruled by the Olympian gods will respect you as their master when they see you. Although it is not very powerful, but it is indeed a serious entry. Zhou Yuan nodded gently. Ding. Just nodded. Another mysterious voice sounded. Ding. Your hunting lord entry has mutated. Mutation. Zhou Yuan's eyes lit up. Scanned the mutated entry. Hunting lord, mutation. After the mutation, the hunting lord entry will no longer be limited to the area ruled by the Olympian gods. The beasts of the entire Greek mythology universe and other universes will respect you as the master when they see you. Powerful female beasts will take the initiative to give birth to offspring for you when they see you. Chapter 34. This mutated hunting lord entry has a wider range of effects. Zhou Yuan was not surprised, but was surprised that the range expanded to other universes. The area ruled by the Greek gods? It wouldn't be just a small area of land as big as Karami, right? Now it can be confirmed. There are gods in the bitter cold land in the north. There are gods in the desert land in the south. In the distant eastern world, across the huge mountain that is 100,000 meters high, there are mysteries that even the chaotic eyes can't see clearly. The east, which is blocked by mystery, seems to have a higher level of divine power than Olympus, more than one level. So here comes the question. Rely on the plundering entry. Become a primitive god in Olympus. Can you walk sideways in the mysterious eastern land? Can the mutated hunting lord entry make the powerful female beasts in the eastern land call me master when they see me, and want to give birth to my offspring when they see me? Zhou Yuan's thoughts flashed, and then his eyes moved and looked at the goddess of abundance. The goddess of abundance. Her eyes responded to Zhou Yuan. There is a sense of eagerness to try. Demeter, one of Zeus' many wives, has a daughter who is the queen of hell, and Hades, the king of hell, is Zeus' brother. Demeter is the sister of the goddess of holy fire, and she is also the sister of Zeus and Hera. Her appearance is at least 80% similar to Hera, daughter of Zeus, married to Hades, Zeus' brother. Greek mythology. It's so G confusing. There is no morality. But the goddess of fertility does look very fertile. Come, try it. Loot the entry from the goddess of fertility. Don't trigger the improper entry. Here's a serious entry. Hell in Zhou Yuan's heart. Several minutes passed. The looting entry was not triggered. Strange. This is the first time. Forget it. Let's get to the point. Bo. Zhou Yuan snapped his fingers, and Hera, the goddess of love, and the 3 goddesses of fate, who were deep in Hera's bedroom, all appeared in the center of the temple at this moment. Come. Music. Olympus. The first goddess party started. Zhou Yuan snapped his fingers again, and the fast-paced music sounded in the Hera temple. Hera and the goddess of love moved to the rhythm of the music, followed by the 3 goddesses of fate. Come. Turn on the lights. Zhou Yuan snapped his fingers again. Rhythm. Rhythm. Advertisement lights. The graceful figure was dancing. The goddess of hunting and the goddess of sacred fire, 2 goddesses with the title of pure goddesses, were obviously stunned at this moment. They had never seen such a scene before, and at this moment, a word popped up in their minds at the same time. Depravity. This way. The goddess of plenty moved. That way. The goddess of love suddenly rushed to the front of the goddess of hunting and hugged her waist. Before the goddess of hunting could react, she was pulled by the goddess of love and began to dance. The holy fire goddess, the purest goddess of Olympus, gritted her teeth and chose to join. Soon, the holy fire goddess let herself go. Who would have thought? The purest goddess of Olympus. She was the one dancing the most happily. Night fell. The major temples of Olympus were brightly lit. Among them, the temple of Queen Hera. All kinds of light permeated out. The eyes of the gods were almost all focused on the temple of Hera. Who can tell me what happened during the day? Who can tell me what is going on in the temple of Hera now? That cheerful voice and the voice of a woman. How many goddesses are there in it? Hercules asked. Chuckling, Hercules just asked the question. The temple of Hera was filled with the laughter of women. More than one voice. It was obvious. There were multiple women laughing. Hole. In the temple of Ares on the throne, Ares punched the human world. Inside the temple of Hera, there are Queen Hera, goddess of love Aphrodite, the three goddesses of fate, goddess of hunting Artemis, goddess of fire Hestia, and goddess of fertility Demeter. This is just on the surface. I suspect that some goddesses sneaked into the temple of Hera to attend the goddess party held by that Oriental man. As for what happened inside, everyone knows the scenes of dancers dancing in the taverns in the human world. Lord Zeus, this is too crazy. An Oriental man is having a party in Mount Olympus. Unprecedented. Although our god King Zeus likes to play in the wild, he often goes to the human world to play in the wild. He has never been so crazy. Hermes' voice sounded. He was in his own temple. His body moved with the rhythm. He wished he could become a woman and rush into the temple of Hera. My wife. Aphrodite. Inside the mountain, the god of fire shouted while forging iron. At the same time, the temple of the goddess of wisdom, Athena silently activated the artifact Peeping Eye. As the owner of this artifact, her proficiency in using it is far better than that of Ares, the god of war. When some scenes in the temple of Hera appeared in front of her, Athena stood up. Her heart was beating wildly. Her soul almost went berserk. She took a deep breath. She lowered her voice. Ridiculous. Too ridiculous. This is the most ridiculous night in the history of Mount Olympus. Chapter 35. Hell. Entrance to Tartarus prison. Mist rolling. In the mist, Athena once again secretly met with Gaia, the earth goddess. That Oriental man is more chaotic than Zeus. He can absorb the chaos rune. Is it possible that he is a part of chaos god Chaos? Athena asked Gaia. I can be sure that chaos god Chaos has not revived, and before Chaos fell asleep, only a wreckage was left. From what I know about Chaos, he would not be so bored as to play an Oriental man. For some reason, Chaos does not like the East, and Chaos even hates Orientals. Gaia responded. Chaos, the most powerful god in the history of the Olympian Protoss? Hate Orientals? There is such a secret? Athena was a little surprised. This universe is more complicated than you think. The area ruled by the Olympian gods is only a part of the area. Chaos's level will not personally take action, so Olympus needs an ultimate god king. Gaia said in a tone that Athena was extremely unfamiliar with. Ultimate? God king? Who is qualified to be the ultimate god king of Olympus? Zeus? Apollo? Ares? Poseidon? Or Hades? This was the first time Athena heard the term ultimate god king. The Spartan you chose is Zeus's illegitimate son. He has a chance to become the ultimate god king. But before becoming the ultimate god king, he must kill the gods and crown himself. Kill Zeus. Call yourself the new king of Olympus. This is part of my power. You bring this part of power to that Spartan. Although this part of power is not strong, it is enough for the Spartan to gain endless vitality and can bring him back to life. Every time he is resurrected, he will become stronger. Gaia opened her mouth and spit out an olive branch. Athena took the olive branch, nodded thoughtfully, and then disappeared. Ultimate God King? Although my good brother Zeus has been stolen by an Oriental man for a while, but the ultimate God King can only be Zeus. Wait for him to return. All gods return to one. Inside the temple of Hades. On the throne of Hades. Hades snorted coldly. One night passed. The first ray of sunlight in the morning shone on Mount Olympus. Zeus Oracle. A voice broke the tranquility of the early morning. Apollo, the god of light, appeared. He seemed to have forgotten the strictness of the goddess of abundance. At this moment, he held a ball of light in his hands with a solemn and pious face. Instantly, the gods cast their eyes over. Oracle. See the oracle again. The king of gods had two oracles before, but they were both one-sided. Can the oracle this time communicate with both sides? Or, Lord Zeus is going to announce the time of his return. Come on. Come back. Father God. Hercules shouted. Wow. Advertisement. The ball of light, held by Apollo, projected the figure of Zeus. Father God. Apollo only took a look and was extremely surprised. He half knelt in the air. God King, Zeus, become stronger again. You can see it from the oracle projection. That tall and majestic posture. It is obviously much stronger than the last projection. Hera, my queen of gods, Métis, Themis, Eurynomy, Demeter, Mnemosyne, Leto, my wives, Apollo, Ares, Athena, Hercules, Hermes, Artemis, etc., my children. In less than half a month in the mysterious temple, I, Zeus, have mastered at least 20 kinds of divine power. I am already half a primitive god. In 2 months at most, I, Zeus, will become a primitive god. Wait for me to return. I will lead the Olympian gods into a new era. Zeus projection. Announced the oracle. Father God is invincible. The King of gods is invincible. Lord Zeus is going to become a primitive god. Apollo is boiling. The whole of Olympus is boiling. Whoosh. Almost in the next second, 2 figures floated out of the temple of Hera. One is Queen of Gods Hera. One is the goddess of fertility, Demeter. Both are Zeus' wives. The 2 sisters look 80% alike. At this moment, the 2 sisters are basking in the sun. The gods' eyes were instantly attracted. One glance. The gods were stunned. Queen Hera was stroking her bulging belly. Why is the goddess of fertility also stroking her belly? Why is the goddess of fertility also slightly bulging? What the hell? One night passed? The goddess of fertility is also pregnant? I'm stunned. Hermes opened his mouth in a daze. In the sky at this moment, there is also a projection of the oracle of the king of gods Zeus. In front of the temple of Hera at this moment, the 2 wives of the king of gods are sunbathing with their pregnant bellies. But the 2 unborn heirs, they are not the offspring of the king of gods Zeus. Absurd. This scene in front of us. It happened on Mount Olympus. This is a bit too absurd. Reading books every day on the 11th day is fun. Chapter 36. Queen Hera betrayed King Zeus. Perhaps it was because King liked to play in the underworld. Goddess of plenty betrayed Zeus. Could it be the same reason? By the way, King has 7 wives. 2 of them have betrayed Zeus. Will the remaining 5, not be the case? Among the 7 wives of the Lord King of God, there must be some true love. Hermes thought quickly, and then looked at the entrance of Hera's temple. That Oriental man, is he really not afraid that Zeus will come back and settle accounts with him? Hera, Demeter, and those goddesses who betrayed the Olympian gods. Father God is back. When he knew his home was stolen, he will settle everything. Apollo roared. Wow. Zeus's projection disappeared. Alas. Ares sighed on the throne of the god of war. Sure enough, the oracle was conveying information unilaterally this time. If they wanted to settle accounts with that Oriental man, they had to wait until the day when the king of gods really returned. Zeus, my lord king of gods, come back soon. Olympus cannot live without you. Father God. Whoosh. At this time, inside the temple of Hera, several figures flew out again. There was the god of love. There were the 3 goddesses of fate. At this moment, in front of the temple of Hera, 6 goddesses bathed in the morning light. Olympus was silent, because the 6 goddesses lined up in a row all had bulging abdomens. God of love. Aphrodite. She gave birth to another child for that Oriental man. Inside this sacred mountain, the god of fire saw this scene. He was stunned. The holy garden. It was in a mess. Zhou Yuan once again desecrated the most sacred place in Olympus in the holy garden. He tried to attract the goddess of night Nyx again and plunder the powerful entries from Nyx, but this time the goddess of night did not show up. However, Zhou Yuan tested the purity entry. I have to say, the purity entry is really useful. Ding. The effect of your warlord entry is triggered. You have obtained a portion of the power of the emperor. Suddenly, a mysterious voice sounded. At this time? Where is the war breaking out? The Far East? Advertisement come. Chaos God Eye. Zhou Yuan opened the 3rd eye between his eyebrows and swept towards the Far East. His eyes swept across the western land of Olympus and soon reached the huge mountain range of 100,000 meters high. This time, can you see the mysterious eastern land? Blurred. Can't see clearly at all. Ding. You have obtained 10 portions of the power of the emperor. The effect of the warlord entry is triggered again. Indistinctly, Zhou Yuan's chaotic divine eyes saw the mysterious east, and some huge figures seemed to flash by. What is that? Is it the Protoss from the east? Ding! You have obtained 1,000 copies of the Divine Emperor's divine power. Your divine power has broken through the peak Divine Emperor. Your divine power has been upgraded to a quasi-primitive god. The entry is triggered again. Divine power level, quasi-primitive god. Lying in the holy garden of Olympus, holding the Queen of Olympus, the divine power level was easily upgraded. Ding! You have obtained a copy of the quasi-primitive god's divine power. Triggered again. Eastern world. What scale of war between gods is this? I'm still far from enough. Currently, the original gods that have awakened in Olympus are Gaia, the earth goddess, and Nyx, the night goddess. I can't fleece the night goddess for the time being, then I can only fleece the earth goddess. Zhou Yuan's chaos god eyes retracted their gaze, thought for a moment, and woke up the sleeping Hera. Hera understood immediately with a glance. Wow! Hera, wearing the fate mask, directly released the magic. The next moment, the two appeared in hell, at the entrance of Tartarus prison. With the bonus of the fate mask, Hera was full of confidence, and Gaia, the earth goddess, could not sense any breath from her and Zhou Yuan. Zhou Yuan's eyes swept over Gaia, the earth goddess. Half of her body was outside the prison, and she was sleeping with her eyes closed. The surface of her body was still covered with rocks, which looked quite ugly. Come, plunder. Plunder hard. Feed Gaia hard. Get all the wool off her. 10 minutes passed. No trigger entry prompt. Could it be? Have you already gotten all the wool off Gaia? Is there a limit to the number of entries you can plunder from the same person? Zhou Yuan raised his eyebrows slightly. Come, test the purity entry. With a thought, he released the purity entry ability to Gaia, helping Gaia restore her purity. What's wrong with my body? The Earth Mother Gaia suddenly opened her eyes, her face full of astonishment, and in the next second Gaia, whose ugly face was covered by rocks, had changed her face. She turned into a beautiful, youthful face. This beautiful, youthful face resembled Hera at least 60%. Is this the goddess Gaia's form? Zhou Yuan was also a little confused. Ding! Without any signs, a mysterious voice sounded in his mind. This is the sound of successfully plundering an entry. Reading books every day on the 11th is fun. Chapter 37. Ding! You have plundered the power of creation entry from Gaia, the mother goddess of the earth. Power of creation, illusion. This entry allows you to rub everything with your hands. As long as you are strong enough, you can even rub Chaos, the god of chaos, and Chronos, the god of time. The things you rub with your hands will gain all the authority of the corresponding characters and stay with you. Colored entries. Power of creation. Rub everything with your hands. This is the third colored entry. The first one is the super primitive gods entry. The second one is the night body entry. There is no doubt. The power of creation is an extremely powerful entry. In Greek mythology, Chaos, the god of chaos, is equivalent to the god of creation, and Chronos, the god of time, is also equivalent to the god of creation. If you can rub these two with your hands, it is equivalent to rubbing the god of creation in Greek mythology. In this era, there is basically no chance to see these two gods. These two gods are like the super masters who control everything behind the scenes, and the power of creation has a chance to rub out two divine hands. The power of creation. The upper limit is too high. Of course, Zhou Yuan knows himself. He doesn't think that with his current level of divine power, he can rub Chaos or Chronos. But I still have to try it later. Zhou Yuan's thoughts flashed through his mind, and his eyes swept over the Earth Mother Goddess who had regained her youth and beauty again, trying to trigger the plundering term again. But after 10 minutes, nothing happened, and he knew it was no use. Speaking of helping Gaia restore her pure body, Gaia regained her youth and beauty, triggering the plundering term. Is there a possibility that getting the Earth Mother Goddess pregnant can also trigger the plundering term? Zhou Yuan. A flash of inspiration. I thought of a possibility. But when he saw that the other half of the Earth Mother Goddess's body was still covered with rocks and had no beauty at all, he gave up the idea. To be honest, I can't do it. Let's go. Go back to the Temple of Hera first. Test the power of creation. Hera Temple. Chaos. Zhou Yuan sat high on the throne, raised his right hand, and whispered, but nothing happened. As expected, his divine power level is not enough. He can't rub the god of chaos with his hands. Dear master? Is this calling the god of chaos? Hera on the side was quite puzzled. Kronos, the god of time. Zhou Yuan changed his target and used the power of creation again, trying to rub a god of time with his hands, but nothing happened. Is it at this stage? You can only rub people or things that are not higher than your own divine power level. Zhou Yuan raised his eyebrows slightly. Come, rub a golden apple tree with your hands. Zhou Yuan raised his hand again. Wow, a flash of divine light. A golden apple tree grew out of thin air in the center of the temple. Golden apple tree. Hera thought Zhou Yuan moved the tree in the holy garden to her temple. When she sensed that the golden apple tree in the holy garden was intact, her beautiful eyes flashed wildly. Dear Master, did he create a golden apple tree? Advertisement come. Bring me the sword of Olympus, the artifact of Zeus. Zhou Yuan thought of an artifact, raised his hand and rubbed it directly, and a divine light flashed and a sword appeared in his hand. The artifact of the god king, the sword of Olympus. Hera was extremely surprised. Whoosh, whoosh, whoosh. Feeling the power of the sword, the three goddesses of fate, the goddess of hunting, the goddess of abundance, the goddess of holy fire, and the god of love in the depths of the palace flew out one after another. When they saw Zhou Yuan on the throne, holding the sword of Olympus, they all widened their eyes. What is this? What's going on? How could Zeus' most powerful artifact be here? Clang. Zhou Yuan threw away the sword of Olympus without any explanation and rubbed his hands again in the surprised eyes of many goddesses. Come. A thunder hammer. Zizi. A hammer appeared out of thin air in his hand. Thunder flowed. Contains extremely powerful divine power. Artifact? Whose artifact is this? This seems to be the artifact of the god of thunder in the bitter cold land of the north. Thor's hammer. The goddess of hunting recognized the artifact. This kind of power? It doesn't seem to be plundering from a distance. This power seems to be... The three goddesses of fate suddenly thought of something, and they were extremely shocked at this moment, followed by surprise. This man, he seemed to have mastered the authority that only primitive gods could master. Dang! Zhou Yuan threw away the thunder hammer in his hand. To be honest, he looked down on these artifacts because they basically did not improve him. He slowly closed his eyes, and Greek mythological figures flashed through his mind one by one. Suddenly, he opened his eyes. The figure in my mind is fixed on a blurry figure. Come, try it. Rub this one with your hands. Wow, a flash of divine light. A figure appeared in the temple of Hera. Swish. All the goddesses stared at it at the first time, stunned. The extra figure is a little girl. This little girl, her clothes. It's exactly the same as the statue of the original goddess, the goddess of night. Her face. It's very similar to the statue of the goddess of night. She is in front of me, but it seems that there is endless time and space between us. Hera took a deep breath, tried her best to calm herself down, and lowered her head slightly to ask a tentative question. The goddess of night? Nyx? The little girl nodded faintly. Chapter 38. Plop. The three goddesses of fate knelt down. Zhou Yuan was not surprised. He remembered that there was a saying in Greek mythology that the source of power of the three goddesses of fate was the goddess of night, and the three goddesses of fate were all daughters of night. That's right. There is another saying. The goddess of night, Nyx, has three different supergod identities. Ananke, the goddess of destiny. Hermamene, the goddess of fate, cause and effect. Adrastea, the goddess of natural law. These three goddesses are the three phases of the goddess of night. In short, they are clones. Zhou Yuan quickly searched his memory and soon found something in the depths of his memory. Ananke, the goddess of destiny, is the wife of Kronos, the god of time, and the mother of Fans, the king of gods. Hermamene, the goddess of fate, cause and effect, is the daughter of Fans, the king of gods. Adrastea, the goddess of natural law, is the wife of Fans, the king of gods. This is a mess of the relationship between these gods in Greek mythology. Maybe. There is no human ethics in the cognition of these primitive gods. It's too messy. So in Olympus, I can completely abandon morality. I can do whatever I want. I don't have any psychological burden, demon barrier, at all. Zhou Yuan sighed in his heart. Plop. Hera knelt down. Meet the great ancient night. The goddess of fertility Demeter also knelt down. Goddess of love. Goddess of hunting. Goddess of holy fire. At this moment, she bowed her head and saluted. In their cognition, The goddess of night is the supreme god, and when the king of gods Zeus sees the goddess of night, he must also salute respectfully. Are you also the night? The little goddess of night rubbed by Zhou Yuan swept past Hera and other goddesses, and then swept her eyes towards Zhou Yuan. At a glance, the little goddess of night raised her eyebrows slightly. I am the night, and the night is not me. Zhou Yuan smiled. Hera and the others raised their heads, their faces full of confusion. They didn't understand this sentence. You can become the night and replace the night, but the night can't replace you? You mean, your godhood is above the night? The little night goddess's eyes turned. Come, plunder the entry. Zhou Yuan didn't answer. His eyes swept over the little night goddess and rubbed the night goddess with the power of creation. His purpose was extremely simple. He didn't think of replacing the original night goddess. He just wanted to fleece the night goddess. Flee the night goddess like fleecing Gaia, the mother goddess of the earth. 10 seconds, 20 pieces, 30 seconds, 60 seconds. Ding. At exactly 60 seconds, Zhou Yuan heard a familiar voice, and he smiled while sitting on the throne. Got it. Successfully plundered the entry. Ding. You plundered the sleep entry from the little night goddess. Sleeping, red, this time the entry gives you the ability to create dreams. You can invite or pull a character into the dream. As the master of the dream, you can do whatever you want in the dream. The dream you create can be either illusory or real. Oh, a sleeping entry? Advertisement red level? Not the illusion level? This entry doesn't seem very powerful. At my current state, I have the body of a primitive god and the power of a quasi-primitive god. The dream I create should not be able to suppress a primitive god of the level of the goddess of night. What's more, invite the primitive god into my dream. For example, invite Kronos, the god of time. Most of the time, the other party is too lazy to respond to me. Red entry effect. Not enough. Can't touch the primitive god. Zhou Yuan pondered, and subconsciously raised his hand to the little goddess of night. The little goddess of night unexpectedly flew in front of him and let him touch her head. Hiss. This scene. Hera and other Olympian goddesses were stunned when they saw this. Man, he was like a respected elder. Gently stroked the head of the goddess of night. The little goddess of night was actually like an innocent child. Oh, master, dear master, who are you? Hera and the god of love shouted devoutly in their hearts. Pinched the face. Zhou Yuan, who was on the throne, put his hands on the face of the little goddess of night and gently pinched the face of the little goddess of night in front of all the goddesses. The little goddess of night rolled her eyes at Zhou Yuan, flew to the side, and hugged Zhou Yuan with both hands to examine him. It seemed she wanted to see through everything about Zhou Yuan. TSK, TSK. Zhou Yuan laughed out loud, because at the moment when he pinched the face of the little goddess of night, he heard a familiar voice again. Entry. Upgraded. No, not upgraded, but mutated. The latest looted sleep entry has mutated. Sleep, mutation, the mutated sleep entry makes you the true master of dreams. This time, the effect of the entry is no longer limited to your active invitation to pull people into the dream. Different gods, different worlds, different dimensions, different universes, as long as there are living beings dreaming, there is a great probability that they will actively walk into your dream. Upgrade. The effect of the entry has been upgraded. At this moment, Zhou Yuan thought of the word upgrade. Come, create dreams. No, not creation. Dreams already exist. It should be said to monitor dreams. Zhou Yuan's thoughts moved. He saw the dream world. This dream world. It's like an endless eternal cage. Ding. There is a prompt. A figure appeared in the dream world. Ding. The goddess of the night Nyx entered your dream world. Chapter 39. Nyx, the true body of the night. Enter the dream. Boom. The dream began to shake. This was the terrifying divine power brought by the supreme goddess of the Olympus Protoss. Zhou Yuan was not surprised by this. The goddess of night obviously knew that there was an extra little night on Mount Olympus. Nyx. She came to ask for punishment. Do you know your mistake? The voice of the goddess of night was like a dark cage covering the sky and the earth, echoing throughout the dream world. If it was the god King Zeus, he would have knelt down and kowtowed for mercy. Zhou Yuan was different. He plundered the shelter of fate. He swallowed Gaia's bottle of life. He plundered the true body of the night of the goddess of night. He has the mutated Death Master entry. Even if the Olympus myth universe is destroyed, he can still be resurrected infinitely. The goddess of night is called the supreme goddess, but she is in the Olympus myth universe after all. What's more, this is a dream. I am the master of dreams. I am the greatest in the dream. Come, to the supreme goddess of Olympus, to the essence of the night, to the original god who was born from the creation and formation of the universe. Punishment. Zhou Yuan had a faint look on his face, raised his hand and snapped his fingers, and the voice of the goddess of night echoing in the dream disappeared, and only a pure white stone pillar fell from the sky and landed in front of the goddess of night. The goddess of night was obviously stunned for a moment. Wow! The next second, the goddess of night was tied to the stone pillar. Dead. Tied. Just like the famous medieval oil painting of the Good Friday. Chuckling. The goddess of night chuckled. As one of the original gods of Olympus, she obviously didn't take Zhou Yuan's methods seriously. In this world, except this universe, what can imprison the night? Is this man the universe? Obviously he is not. You are not chaos, you are not Chronos, and you are not the universe. The goddess of night shook her head gently, and her expression became solemn. At this moment, she was the supreme goddess in the eyes of Hera and other Olympian gods, and a primitive divine power was released. She obviously took a step forward. She wanted to crush Zhou Yuan's dream world with the posture of the supreme goddess. But that step she took, she didn't really take it out. She just completed a step of lifting her foot. She was still tied to the torture pillar. There was a clear surprise on her face. What's going on? She is the body of night? As the supreme goddess of the Greek gods? She couldn't break free from the torture pillar in this man's dream? Nyx, the goddess of night, you are the night, and I can also be the night. Zhou Yuan smiled and raised his right hand. With a whip in his hand, he raised his hand and swung it out. Snap. Whip. Advertisement swung it at the goddess of night. Swish. In an instant, the black robe was shredded to pieces. A bloodstain appeared on the body of the supreme goddess of Olympus. Shocking. The goddess of night, Nyx, was stunned. Feeling good, looking at the goddess of night on the pillar, Zhou Yuan whispered, and the blood of the Titan ancestor in his body was boiling. In this world, this Mount Olympus, this Greek god clan, has any god ever thought of torturing the goddess of night? Zeus, the so-called king of Olympus, the male god who likes to play in the wild the most in Olympus. I'm afraid he doesn't even have the courage to have the slightest distraction about the goddess of night. Punishment. Punishment. Seize this opportunity. Punish the goddess of night severely. What the body of night? What the original god? What the supreme goddess of Greek mythology? Sorry. In this dream world. Just a prisoner. Bang. Zhou Yuan whipped. Roar. The goddess of night, Nyx, seemed to have finally reacted and roared like a primitive god. The dream world shook wildly, but she still couldn't break free from the punishment pillar. Morality. Bottom line. In this dream world, at this moment, I don't want it all. Zhou Yuan completely let himself go. He was like the crazy gods in the history of Olympus mythology. He threw away the whip and snapped his fingers. This snap, he gave the supreme goddess of Olympus on the punishment pillar the term of purity. Then, he also turned into night. Then, he overlapped with the supreme goddess of the Olympian Protoss in the dream world. Boom, boom, boom. Appeared in the world. Mount Olympus. The sky that was originally clear and bright. Suddenly it darkened. The sky seemed to collapse and press down on Mount Olympus. Apollo, Ares, Hercules, Hermes, Vulcan, Athena, and others showed up at the first moment, staring at the sky blankly, and at this moment they felt a raging rage. When he felt a will, Hermes couldn't help but scream. F***K. Who is it? Who has offended the great and ancient goddess of the night? Who has angered our supreme goddess of Olympus? Is he tired of living? Chapter 40. Horrible Dark Night. It enveloped Mount Olympus for half a month. When the dark night haze dissipated, the sun fell on Olympus again. The gods breathed a sigh of relief. In the temple of Hera, Zhou Yuan breathed a sigh of relief. He didn't expect to stay in the dream for half a month, and he didn't expect that he, who had the blood of the ancestor Titan, almost lost to the goddess of the night Nyx in a single fight. Hera, or the god of love. They couldn't withstand the power of the blood of the ancestor Titan. They could easily be controlled. But the blood of the ancestor titan couldn't control the goddess of the night. But it's true. The goddess of the night is the original god after all. Zhou Yuan didn't expect that in the last few days of the dream, the goddess of the night seemed to awaken another personality, playing more tricks than he, a modern time traveler, had seen. The contrast is huge. It's really eye-opening. You've become stronger. The little night goddess folded her arms and looked at Zhou Yuan. It's just a little bit stronger. Zhou Yuan cast his eyes on the little night goddess. Although he failed to plunder new entries in the 15 days of dreaming, he gained a piece of original divine power, and his divine power level was instantly upgraded to the level of the original god. Of course, a piece of original divine power. It can only be regarded as the weakest original god. I want to discuss something with this guy. You go outside the temple to bask in the sun first. The little night goddess' eyes moved and swept over Hera, the goddess of love, and other goddesses. Hera and the other goddesses floated out of the temple in a flash. So, in front of the Hera temple, such a scene appeared. Queen Hera, goddess of love Aphrodite, goddess of abundance, goddess of holy fire, goddess of hunting, the three goddesses of fate, lined up, bathed in the sun. Swish, suddenly, attracted the attention of the entire Olympian gods. The servants of the gods in the major temples were dumbfounded. Zeus, the god king. What a ridiculous scene. In front of the temple of Hera, the goddesses lined up with bulging abdomens. There were only a few goddesses last time. There are 8 goddesses this time. Oh my god. The oriental man that Queen Hera colluded with. How could he be so powerful? How could he be so exaggerated? That oriental man is even more chaotic than Lord Zeus, the god king. Damn it. Artemis. As one of the 3 pure goddesses of Olympus, you actually gave birth to a child for an oriental man. Do you still have any shame? I don't have a sister like you. Apollo's defense was broken. The god of light appeared directly in a flaming chariot. After sweeping past the goddess of hunting, his eyes were cast on the goddess of holy fire. Apollo. He was so angry that he trembled on the spot. Hestia, I once pursued you, but you ruthlessly rejected me. You said you would always keep your body pure as a god. It turns out that everything was a lie. You are also a liar. You are all idiots. The return of Zeus, the king of gods. You will all be liquidated. Apollo pretended to be crazy. Splash. Advertisement, a terrifying water column rushed up from the human world. Poseidon, the god of the sea. Ride the sea monster to climb Mount Olympus. When he saw the goddess of fertility with a slightly bulging abdomen in front of the temple of Hera, the corners of his mouth twitched. Hestia, you really disappoint me. You rejected my pursuit at the beginning, but I still regarded you as the purest goddess. I still respected you, and even erected a statue for you in the temple of Poseidon. And you actually gave birth to a child for an oriental man. Are you worthy of me? Poseidon's face was full of pain. My wife, Aphrodite, you didn't even let me touch you before. You are going to give birth to a second child for that oriental. Who am I, Hephaestus, in your eyes? Tell me. Let me give up. The god of fire wailed. The god of fire hasn't given up yet. Eros is about to give birth to a second child for someone else, and the god of fire is still trying to keep her. The god of fire is too slow? Hermes couldn't help but complain. Oriental. Everything will be settled in the end. The god of war Ares roared. Roar. Almost at the same time, north of Mount Olympus, a roar was heard. A huge shadow walked out of the northern fog. It was a giant wolf. It was several times larger than the city-states in the human world. The Olympian gods cast their eyes over. The next moment, the giant wolf spoke human words. From the north. I heard that the god of fire in Olympus is good at forging artifacts. I brought a piece of chaos iron. If the god of fire can make chaos iron into an artifact, I will give you an ancient sky rune. Ancient sky rune. That is a power that even Zeus, the king of Olympus, has never possessed. Chapter 41. Giant Wolf of the North. You are a god from the bitter cold land of the north. Last time, a god who controls thunder came to you secretly. Is that your god king? You northern gods covet Mount Olympus and dare to ask the god of fire to make a divine weapon. Do you think we Olympian gods are fools? A low roar. From Apollo, the god of light. God of thunder? That's not the god king. I am not in the same camp with the god of thunder. As long as you create a chaos artifact, I can help you kill the god of thunder and the god king of the faction of the god of thunder. I will devour the god king. The giant wolf responded. A wolf howl followed, and the sun in the sky, as if frightened, actually hid. It was originally early morning, but at this moment it was like dusk. Gods. Dusk. Athena whispered 4 words on the throne. She had a special relationship with the 3 goddesses of fate before, and often visited the Temple of Fate. She knew the origin of the giant wolf and its predetermined fate in the future. Giant wolf, come to find the god of fire to create a chaos artifact. However, the god of fire cannot create a chaos artifact. That's okay. Wait a minute. The god of fire cannot create a chaos artifact. But Athena's eyes moved, and she suddenly shot towards the temple of Hera. You want to create a chaos artifact? Come, offer the chaos god iron. I will help you create it. Zhou Yuan's voice came from the temple of Hera, and Athena's face suddenly changed. The giant wolf's eyes shot towards the temple of Hera. One look. The giant wolf was as confused as a husky. What's going on? Isn't that the temple of Hera, the queen of Olympus? Why did a man's voice come from inside? Wait, in front of the temple of Hera, why are there several goddesses standing? Nima, why are all these Olympian goddesses pregnant? Damn, Queen Hera is among them. This really opened the eyes of the local dogs. Could the man in the temple of Hera be the king of gods Zeus? Is Zeus so reckless? The Greek gods are too outrageous. The giant wolf blinked wildly, never thinking that such a scene would appear on Mount Olympus. Are you king of god Zeus? The giant wolf hesitated and asked. He is a husband killer. He is an oriental man who colluded with Queen Hera. He stole the wife of the god of fire. He harmed the purest goddess of our Olympus. He is AB*****************. Apollo growled. Isn't the person sitting in the temple of Hera the king of god Zeus? Advertisement, wait a minute. An oriental man? On Mount Olympus? Let the Olympian goddesses give birth to offspring? Puff. The giant wolf sprayed. Magic. It's so magical. The local dogs are called magic wolves. But compared with the magic of the scene in Olympus before us, the local dog is really just a local dog. I believe in your strength. This is Chaos God Iron. Please make a Chaos God artifact. No need to calculate the loss. As long as you can make a God artifact, I will personally offer the ancient sky rune. The divine thought flashed, and the giant wolf opened its mouth and spit out a black light. The black light flew up to Mount Olympus and landed in front of the temple of Hera. Boom. A loud noise. The black light turned out to be a piece of God iron. Swish. One after another, eyes were cast on the God iron. Chaos God iron. If you let me make it, I can't make a chaos artifact, but it can greatly improve my forging skills. My wife, the goddess of love, was robbed by him. Today, he also robbed Chaos God Iron. I'm ugly enough. Why is my life so miserable? The god of fire wailed. Come, make a chaos artifact. Zhou Yuan raised his hand casually, and Chaos God Iron flew into the temple. He intercepted 1/10 of the God Iron, and a mouthful of Chaos God Fire spurted out. A dagger took shape in a second. Take it. He raised his hand again and threw it casually. The forged dagger flew out of the temple, flew out of Mount Olympus, and landed in front of the giant wolf. So fast. Is the Chaos Iron I took out 90% damaged? Chaos artifact. This is indeed a chaos artifact. The dwarf craftsman in our bitter cold land in the north spent 100 years and still failed to create a chaos artifact. The mysterious strong man in the temple of Hera. You actually succeeded in creating it in 10 seconds. The local dog has opened his eyes today. The giant wolf was confused at first, thinking that he was fooled. When he sensed the dagger and found that the dagger was indeed a chaos artifact, he was stunned for a moment. Outrageous. Too outrageous. Take a deep breath. The giant wolf jumped up. The body that was larger than the human city-state shrank suddenly. Whoosh. Landed in front of the temple of Hera. Then he opened his mouth and spit out a rune. Boom. The rune appeared. Thunder roared over Mount Olympus. At this moment, the gods of Olympus sensed it very clearly. Runes spit out by the giant wolf released the power of the sky more powerful than that of the god King Zeus. Chapter 42. I'm Apollo. I need this ancient rune. I'm the son of the God King. Naturally, I should inherit the power of the sky. Apollo took action. I don't know where he got the courage from, but he wanted to forcibly snatch the ancient sky rune. Roar. The giant wolf turned its head suddenly and roared at Apollo. Its shrunken body jumped up and turned back to its original form in the air. Its abyss mouth that could swallow the sun and the moon bit Apollo fiercely. Damn it! This is Mount Olympus. How dare you, a wolf dog from the bitter cold land of the north, be so presumptuous? Boom. Apollo released his magic. A huge fireball hit the giant wolf. The giant wolf swallowed the fireball directly with its big mouth. Before Apollo could react, he was bitten by the giant wolf. Swish. One bite. Half of Apollo's body was gone. God's blood. Flying. Apollo, who only had half of his body left at this moment, disheveled in the wind. I will devour the northern god king in the future. How could I be afraid of you, the god of light of Olympus? I will give the ancient sky rune to the powerful existence that created the chaos artifact. How could I allow you to destroy it? For the sake of the god king Zeus, I will leave you half of my body. The giant wolf's cold eyes swept over Apollo, and the huge demon wolf's body shrank and returned to the platform in front of the temple of Hera. Olympus. Silence. The gods seemed to be frightened by the giant wolf's sudden attack. Ancient sky rune. To the mysterious lord. The giant wolf spoke in human language, and this time he personally delivered the ancient sky rune to the entrance of the temple. You are a wolf with principles. On the throne, Zhou Yuan responded to the giant wolf, raised his hand and grabbed the rune and flew into the temple, landing in his hand. In the next second, the ancient sky rune was absorbed by him. Wow! In the surprised eyes of the little night goddess, 4 kinds of divine power emerged from Zhou Yuan one after another. Chaos, night, sky, earth. Rather than saying it is divine power, it is better to say it is a system of gods, or the authority of laws. You have already gathered 4 of the original 6 laws of Olympus, and only the ocean and daylight are missing. You, this guy, already have the body of the original god, and you have plundered the original divine power from the adult night goddess. You don't want to surpass chaos, the god of chaos, and Kronos, the god of time. You, this guy, have great ambitions, but if you want to surpass chaos and Kronos, it is far from enough to just gather 6 kinds of law authority. The little night goddess, a pair of eyes flashed with strange light. My target is not chaos nor Kronos. Zhou Yuan smiled slightly. Not chaos? Not Kronos? Who is the target? Fans? Fans is not qualified to compete with chaos and Kronos. Advertisement. The little night goddess frowned slightly. Wow. Zhou Yuan opened the chaos eye directly and scanned the giant wolf at the entrance of the temple. Sure enough, the identity of the giant wolf is exactly the same as he guessed. So, can I loot an entry from the giant wolf? Mysterious sir. I will take my leave first. One of my brothers is still waiting for me to rescue him. At this time, the giant wolf turned around, jumped up. Zhou Yuan raised his eyebrows slightly, and just as he was about to force the giant wolf to stay, a ding sounded in his mind. Ding! You looted the Devouring Heaven and Earth entry from the northern giant wolf. Devouring Heaven and Earth, read this time. As the name suggests, you have an extremely powerful swallowing ability. Although you cannot directly swallow the entire world, it is enough for you to swallow ordinary god kings, swallow the sun and the moon, etc. If the entry is upgraded to fantasy color, you can devour the god emperor, devour the quasi-primordial god, devour the chaos sun, and devour the primordial moon. Oh, a red entry? The current upper limit is devour the god king? Devour the world. The entry name is very domineering, but the effect of the entry is a little bit worse. After upgrading, it is really powerful. So, how can I upgrade this entry? Zhou Yuan pondered. Ding. Suddenly, a voice sounded in his mind again. Oh, could it be? The entry mutated? Zhou Yuan's eyes lit up. Ding. Your creation entry and devour the world entry triggered a hidden bond. When you devour any item, there will be a certain chance that the entry you own will be randomly upgraded. The rarer the swallowed item, the higher the triggering probability. Huh. The entry has a hidden bond effect? What should I devour? Zhou Yuan scanned the temple and saw the golden apple tree. He opened his mouth and swallowed the golden apple tree directly. Nothing happened. Are you hungry? The little night goddess was a little confused. Isn't the golden apple tree rare enough? Zhou Yuan thought, and suddenly raised his head. His eyes penetrated the temple and locked onto the rising sun above Mount Olympus. The sun. There is only one in Olympus. It should be rare enough. Come. Zhou Yuan opened his mouth. He swallowed the sun in the sky in one bite. Chapter 43. Sky. It's dark. All the lights suddenly disappeared. It's dark and boundless. Mount Olympus, the entire European land, was instantly silent. The human world, the wars that broke out everywhere, suddenly stopped. The mortals who were fighting for life and death looked up at the sky. At this moment, they only felt an endless terror. What? In the temple of the god of war, Ares suddenly stood up and looked at the dark sky in disbelief. Who took away the sun in the sky? F***K. Could it be that northern giant wolf? It swallowed the sun. Because Apollo just provoked it, and the source of Apollo's power is the sun. The giant wolf is teaching Apollo a lesson. Where's Apollo? No. Apollo fell. Hermes made a series of noises, searching for Apollo's figure in the darkness, and just saw the remaining half of Apollo's body, losing his divine power, falling from mid-air towards the human world. Whoosh. Hesitated for a second. Hermes activated the artifact flying boots, caught the falling Apollo. You ate the sun? In the temple of Hera, the little goddess of the night withdrew her eyes from the sky and stared straight at Zhou Yuan. Originally, she thought Zhou Yuan had hidden the sun. Originally, she thought it was a prank played by Zhou Yuan on the gods of Olympus. But as soon as she sensed it, the sun that illuminated Olympus and the human world no longer existed. Although that sun is not the sun of chaos, but that sun is also important. Ding! You devoured the sun of Olympus. The hidden bond effect of your devouring the world and creation entries is triggered. One of your existing entries will be randomly upgraded by 1 level. Zhou Yuan grinned at the little night goddess. Come on. Randomly upgrade an entry level. Titan Bloodline, red. Fate Protection, red. Heart of Wisdom, red. Golden Gift, red. Sun Authority, red. Earth Power, red. Warlord, red. Choose one. If you can choose it yourself. Zhou Yuan chooses Sun Authority. Because after the Sun Authority is upgraded, it is the daylight among the 6 original law authorities. If you get the daylight, then the only thing left is the ocean. Ding! Your Warlord entry is upgraded by 1 level. Warlord Illusion. From this moment on, you can use this entry to obtain divine power from wars in different dimensions and universes. Here it comes. Warlord entry upgrade. Advertisement. What is the effect of the entry after the upgrade? Different dimensions? Different universes? As long as a war breaks out, you can absorb divine power yourself? Shouldn't it be called the Multiverse Warlord? Zhou Yuan blinked. Ding, ding, ding. The next second, the Warlord entry was triggered continuously. He sat on Hera's throne of the Queen of Gods, and his divine power soared on the spot. In just a few blinks, he had 10 more original divine powers. You know, in the dream world, fighting against the goddess of night Nyx for half a month, he only managed to plunder 1 original divine power from Nyx. So strong. The upgraded Warlord entry is so powerful. If it was Ares, he had a Warlord entry of this level. That guy's power is probably comparable to Chaos God Chaos. How come you suddenly became so much stronger? The little night goddess was the first to sense the change in Zhou Yuan's power, and her eyes widened. This man, he didn't swallow the sun of chaos. He just swallowed an ordinary sun. His power shouldn't be so much. Weird. It's too weird. I really want to dissect this guy, find out every part of his body inch by inch, and find out all his secrets. Although the sun you swallowed can't be compared with the sun of chaos, it is also responsible for the alternation of day and night. Your behavior is likely to wake up an ancient and powerful guy. I think your behavior is unwise. After a little hesitation, the little night goddess reminded Zhou Yuan. Boom. As soon as she finished speaking, Mount Olympus shook. No, not Olympus, but the whole world. The darkness that enveloped Mount Olympus seemed to be torn apart by an invisible hand, and a new sun appeared out of thin air in the sky. The sun is back? Wasn't the sun eaten by the giant wolf? But someone hid the sun? The gods of Olympus were extremely surprised. On the throne, Zhou Yuan's eyes were bright. His original god perception. At this moment, he smelled the breath of the goddess of night, Nyx. He possessed the body of night. At this moment, he seemed to have taken over the goddess of night again. Then, through the goddess of night, he smelled a breath that was as ancient as eternity. Still through the goddess of night, he knew who that breath belonged to. God of time, Kronos. Chapter 44. Opportunity. This is an opportunity to plunder the god of time, goddess of night. Catch up with Kronos. If you can't catch up, it's okay to catch up to within 100 meters. Zhou Yuan's mind moved. I can catch up with you. The goddess of night replied to Zhou Yuan across an unknown amount of time and space. It seems that because she had been fighting Zhou Yuan for 3 months in the dream world, this supreme goddess of Olympus already understood Zhou Yuan's current state of possession. Night. This woman, in the process of chasing the god of time, every time she was about to get 500 meters away from the god of time, she deliberately paused. Woman, your name is changeable. The last few days in the dream world, who was the one who madly called husband? Zhou Yuan was a little amused. Goddess of night. She is playing with herself. Next will be a rare opportunity. Maybe even your only chance in this life. Open your eyes and watch. A cold snort responded to Zhou Yuan, and the goddess of night kept her own rhythm and continued to chase the god of time. Oh, what is this? When the boundless nothingness suddenly dissipated, the time and space that was more dreamy than the dream world came into view, and Zhou Yuan's eyes condensed. The next moment, time and space jump. 1 change, 2 changes, endless changes, endless jumps, endless time and space, past, present, future, infinite interweaving. A moment is eternity. Time journey. 4 words popped up in Zhou Yuan's mind. He didn't want to miss any picture. He directly opened the chaotic divine eye, wanting to forcibly imprint every frame and every second in the depths of his soul. What the woman said was right. This is indeed a rare opportunity. This is the awakened god of time, taking the goddess of night to travel endless time and space. The gap is too big. The Greek gods of this era, including the god King Zeus, the gap between them and the god of time is greater than the gap between a candle and the sun. Although Kronos cannot be seen clearly, but through the goddess of night, advertisement Zhou Yuan can sense it. Kronos is like the entire Olympus myth universe, even surpassing the Olympus myth universe. This guy is so strong. I really want to plunder entries from him. I really want to fleece him. We are both primitive gods. Can you please not lose face? Zhou Yuan's mind moved. Is it embarrassing to lose to the god of time? The goddess of night asked back, unfaced. I don't believe in God. God blocked my way. Even if I am covered in wounds, I will cross over. Zhou Yuan responded without any hesitation. The goddess of night seemed to be stunned for a moment, and the chasing figure paused for a moment. But the next moment the goddess of night started chasing again, and this time the speed was obviously faster than before. Wow, wow, wow. Endless time and space. Still endless jumps. Boom. Suddenly, endless time and space change. This time it becomes a long river like data, flowing endlessly, running through the past and present. The long river of time turns out to be so gorgeous. Zhou Yuan whispered. Crash. The vast long river of time suddenly collapsed. No, it's not a collapse. The goddess of night suddenly stopped. There was no figure of the god of time in front of her. The long river of time in front of her was broken, as if it was cut off by a knife, forming a big cliff. Under the cliff, endless nothingness. Time has no end, but the time of this universe has an end. Since you have obtained the body of night, you are also night. No matter where I am, you can rely on the body of night to come directly. The goddess of night Nyx pondered for a moment and said, whoosh. Zhou Yuan disappeared from the throne of Queen Hera, and the little goddess of night raised her eyebrows. The next moment, Zhou Yuan's body arrived beside the adult goddess of night. At this moment, he stood side by side with the goddess of night. Wow, the long river of time that was cut off in front of him. Scenes emerged. The god of light Apollo was beheaded. Apollo's head was used as a flashlight. The god of war died on the throne of the god of war. Hercules fell to the mortal world. The top of Olympus. Zeus was pierced through the chest with a long sword. Someone opened the magic box. The boundless black air spread. Olympus collapsed. The giant wolf devoured the king of the bitter cold land in the north. Ragnarok has arrived. Everything in the world has returned to death. Time is stopped. The night no longer exists. This is the end of time in this universe. Everything is a fixed number. Destiny can be broken, but fixed numbers must be obeyed. The goddess of night said in a voice without any human emotion. Really? Zhou Yuan smiled and used the power of creation to rub a cigarette with his hand, and then rubbed a lighter with his hand, and lit a cigarette in front of the goddess of night, in this place called the end of time. Chapter 45. A cigarette? The goddess of night glanced at Zhou Yuan and then shook her head gently. In her opinion, the man in front of her was just using fireworks to express his feelings of powerlessness in the face of the end of time. Fate can be defied. Destiny must be obeyed. The destiny of the universe in Olympus mythology is set. This journey through time is a reminder from Kronos to you, not a warning. The goddess of night whispered. Wow. Zhou Yuan threw the cigarette in his hand and flew towards the cliff of the long river of time. Do this? Is there any meaning? A cigarette shadow has no effect on the torrent of time. The goddess of night shook her head. Boom. And at the moment when the cigarette thrown by Zhou Yuan touched the torrent of time was ignited like gasoline. Starting from the point where the cigarette landed, it spread wildly at a terrifying speed, extending wildly. In a moment, the entire torrent of time was ignited. In the endless void, the torrent of time that runs through the past, present, and future. This moment is like a fire dragon of inestimable length. The past is burning. The present is burning. The future is also burning. The goddess of night was startled. This man? He used a cigarette? Ignite the torrent of time of the Olympus mythology? How did he do it? The goddess of night couldn't understand it. She took a deep breath and looked from the end of time to the other end of the torrent of time. Even one of the top primitive gods felt extremely shocked at this moment. In the endless years of the past, I have seen many things that can be called world wonders. For example, the collapse of the sky. For example, the crack of the day of chaos. For example, the Eastern gods, the original phoenix fought the original dragon clan, and the blood of the gods dyed the entire sky red. But this is the first time I have seen it. The entire torrent of time is burning. Kronos. He went to the bitter cold land in the north. The goddess of night, Nyx, sensed something. I'm not interested in the god of time for now. Zhou Yuan smiled faintly, sweeping across the burning torrent of time. He was very satisfied with his masterpiece and was proud of it at this moment. The most crucial point. He sensed it. Something is being born. That was the entry he plundered. One of the entries is deriving a new entry. You want me to chase him? Don't you want to get something from him? I can now go to the bitter cold land in the north to chase his traces. The goddess of the night was a little surprised. Woman, watch the fireworks with me. Zhou Yuan grabbed the goddess of the night with his big hand, hugged the waist of the goddess of the night, and hugged the goddess of the night into his arms. The goddess of the night, the face of the supreme goddess. I was stunned. From the beginning of the birth of the mythical universe of Olympus, only the man in front of me is so domineering in front of me. Night. How could I surrender to others? The goddess of the night snorted and was about to break free, but she was surprised to find that she couldn't break free from this man. How is it possible? This is not his dream world. He is the purest body of the night. His divine power is at least 10,000 times higher than this man. Advertisement, how could he hold him down and prevent him from moving? Woman, be obedient. You can only move when I tell you to. Zhou Yuan was extremely domineering. The face of the goddess of night turned cold. She wanted to transform into the body of the night and get away directly. But what surprised her even more was that the body of the night seemed to be ineffective. Impossible. The universe is immortal. The night is eternal. His own law and authority cannot be ineffective. Boom. The torrent of time burned to an extreme. Past. Future. Now. Blooming to the fullest. Suddenly, everything dimmed. The torrent of time is now a line of ash of unknown length, crossing this endless void. Ding. The next second, Zhou Yuan heard the sound he wanted. Ding. Your entry of the body of the night has successfully derived the entry of the eternal night. Eternal night, illusion, as the name suggests. You only need to snap your fingers, and the eternal night will come. You control the eternal night, and you can also strip the eternal night. Eternal night is not above the night's body, but it can imprison the night's body. Eternal night term, finally derived. This term can imprison the night's body. This effect is enough. Come. Zhou Yuan stared at the eyes of the goddess of night. What do you want to do? The goddess of night and Zhou Yuan looked at each other. I want to completely conquer the supreme goddess of Olympus at the end of the time of the Olympus universe. Are you ready? Zhou Yuan smiled. You dare. The goddess of night glared at Zhou Yuan. Bo. Zhou Yuan snapped his fingers, and the divine light enveloped him and the goddess of night, and then the scream of the goddess of night came from the divine light. No. Cole. You are a beast. 11 Read books every day. Chapter 46. Hell. Entrance to Tartarus prison. Black air billows. The Spartan who first rebelled against Ares died under Ares' spear of war. The Spartan was resurrected with your power, and his demigod bloodline has been fully awakened. If the Spartan dies and resurrects a few more times, he should be able to defeat Ares. Mother Earth, the life force you invested in the Spartan is indeed powerful. Although you are a primitive god, among many primitive gods, you are far behind other primitive gods in terms of combat. I have a question. Why don't you choose the path of resurrection from the dead to improve your combat effectiveness? Athena asked her doubts. No matter how powerful you are, you can't catch up with Chaos, Kronos, Nyx, or even fans. Gaia responded. Athena was slightly stunned. Because you can't catch up? So you don't try? Zeus has sent back 3 oracles, saying that he will soon become a primitive god. Has the Earth Mother heard of the mysterious temple where Zeus is in seclusion? Athena asked after a pause. Zeus, the god king. He sent back 3 oracles. It can be seen from Zeus' projection. Zeus is getting stronger and stronger. If Zeus really returns as a primitive god, that destined Spartan, can he still overthrow Zeus' rule? The mysterious temple where Zeus is in seclusion. I haven't heard of any mysterious temple. Gaia responded. This Athena was silent, and for the first time she doubted her plan, and disappeared silently. At the same time, Temple of Hera. Zhou Yuan has returned. You seem to have become stronger again. At the level of quasi-primitive gods, each upgrade is not easy. Why can you, a guy, improve your divine power so easily? The little night goddess was very puzzled. This is the power of love. Zhou Yuan smiled slightly. Pa. Little night goddess rolled her eyes at Zhou Yuan. Although she was created by Zhou Yuan, she was not a pirated copy. She possessed the same power of law as Big Night Goddess. She understood the power of love mentioned by Zhou Yuan. This comparison, shameless, feigns. What level can you beat the night? Zhou Yuan recalled that at the end of time, he imprisoned the night goddess with eternal night. When communicating with the night goddess soul, he obtained a lot of information about the primitive god age. Except for the god of time, Fans was the god king of the primitive god age. As more and more entries were plundered, and as the level of divine power and perception increased, it became clearer and clearer that Fans was standing behind Zeus. Advertisement, Fans can't beat the night goddess, Little Night Goddess said in a very affirmative tone. God King Oracle. Suddenly, outside the temple, a voice came. Apollo, the god of light, appeared with half of his body, holding a ball of light in his hands. Apollo was extremely pious. Wow! The ball of light turned into a projection of Zeus. All eyes of Olympus were focused. It can be sensed from the projection of Zeus. Zeus is more powerful than last time. Oracle. This is the 4th oracle of the Lord God King. Is the Lord God King coming back? Lord Zeus, I finally waited for you. Fortunately, I didn't give up. Father God, come back. Your queen, your other wife, and your daughter-in-law. They were blasphemed by an Oriental. Father God, Hephaestus needs your comfort. Olympus is boiling. My queen of gods, my wives, my children, all the people of Olympus. I've become stronger again. In this temple, I have mastered 100 kinds of power of laws. I am infinitely close to the original God. I have set myself the next goal, to master 1,000 kinds of power of laws in the next 3 months. So, wait for me to return. I will upgrade all the people of Olympus to a higher level of godhood. Zeus projection. The oracle was announced in a high-profile manner. Father God is invincible. Your son Apollo will always be loyal to you, waiting for your return. Apollo, the god of light, first lowered his head to the projection of Zeus, and then swept towards the temple of Hera with a hateful look. Hera, kill the husband, and a group of goddesses who betrayed Zeus. The day when Zeus returns, the time of your suffering. The Lord God King is indeed more powerful, but the oracle still transmits information unilaterally. The Lord God King still doesn't know what happened in Olympus. Hermes whispered, "Wow, wow, wow, wow." Suddenly, inside the temple of Hera, a baby's cry was heard. Swish. The gods looked over and saw a figure walking out of the temple. That's it. Demeter, the goddess of fertility. Demeter was holding a baby. She stood in front of the temple of Hera. Then, in front of the gods, she held the baby high, as if she was projecting it to Zeus. Puff. Hermes sprayed. Goddess of fertility. She is one of the 7 wives of the god King Zeus. She projected in front of the Lord God King today. She gave birth to a child to that oriental man. What is this called? This is called a sniper in the middle gate. Goddess of fertility. Do you hate Lord Zeus so much? Chapter 47. Black Pupil? Damn it. This is the blood of Hera Jinfu, goddess of fertility Demeter. As one of the wives of the god king, you gave birth to a child to that oriental man in front of the god king's oracle. You really have no sense of shame. Unforgivable crime. Apollo, who only had half of his body, roared like crazy. Wow. Zeus' projection disappeared. As expected, Zeus' 4th oracle. It is still only a one-sided transmission of information. Zeus' projection cannot respond. Not to mention the punishment of the goddess of fertility. Wow. The baby in the arms of the goddess of fertility cried, and the cry resounded throughout Mount Olympus. B********************* D. Damn B************* D. This is a humiliation to the Olympian gods. B********** D should be executed. Apollo cast a sinister look at the baby. Wow. The crying baby suddenly stopped crying, opened his eyes, and glanced at Apollo. Boom. Apollo. The body below the head exploded into blood mist. The god of light of Olympus. At this moment, only a head was left. K. Hermes screamed. What's going on? A newborn baby. A look left Apollo with only a head. Is the blood power of that oriental man so strong? Giggle. The goddess of abundance laughed, and the gods cast their eyes on the baby again, and the baby actually giggled. Hiss. When the gods saw this scene, their hearts jumped, and there was an inexplicable ominous omen. The god of love gave birth to the first child of the oriental man, and the oriental man named him Pandora. Pandora attracted a terrifying black air that day. Today, the goddess of abundance gave birth to the second child of the oriental man. What would the oriental man name him? Your name is Ymir. In the temple of Hera, Zhou Yuan, sitting on the throne, named his second offspring, and his voice echoed throughout Olympus. Ymir? The Olympian gods were puzzled, because this name was not the style of the Olympian gods, but more like the naming style of the gods in the bitter cold land of the north. Giggle. The baby seemed to understand Zhou Yuan's words and giggled again. Boom, boom, boom. Without any signs, thunder and lightning flashed in the sky above the Olympian gods. In the thunderclouds, it seemed like there was a pair of eyes. Advertisement, it was spying on Olympus. The Greek god's expressions changed. Why name it Ymir? This is the name of the ancestor god of other gods. In the temple of Hera, the little goddess of night hugged her arms. Zhou Yuan smiled without saying a word, silently sensing the talent he had obtained from his second offspring. The moment the goddess of abundance gave birth to her offspring, the multiple blessings entry was triggered, and he instantly gained the power and talent of the second offspring, and the talent was called the power of the ancestor. In Zhou Yuan's opinion, the talent and the entry are similar. The power of the ancestor looks similar to the blood of the Titan ancestor, but it is actually very different. The power of the ancestor. It is equivalent to the original divine power of Olympus. It is precisely because of the power of the ancestor. Zhou Yuan named the second offspring Ymir. Ymir, the ancestor of the frost giants in the bitter cold land of the north. The first original life in the myth of the bitter cold land of the north. Your daughter is not the reincarnation of Ymir? The little night goddess asked. The mutated dream is far more powerful than imagined. Zhou Yuan smiled slightly. Dream? I'm asking about your offspring, not your dream. Please don't change the subject. The little night goddess curled her lips. Zhou Yuan didn't actually change the subject. He just recalled that at the end of the time in the Olympus mythology, he used a cigarette to ignite the torrent of time. At that time, Rubbing the cigarette and the lighter with his hands was the effect of the creation term, and igniting the torrent of time was the effect of the dream term. Of course, it's not an ordinary dream. It's a dream term after mutation. Do you think there is an endless family in this world? Zhou Yuan asked casually. Endless family? I haven't heard of any endless family. You are changing the subject again. Tell me the answer. Is your second offspring the reincarnation of the giant ancestor of the northern gods? The little night goddess rolled her eyes at Zhou Yuan for the second time. How about you help me see which ancient god is the reincarnation of the offspring bred by Hera? Zhou Yuan asked the little night goddess. I only care about the night. I don't know anything else. The little night goddess was a little unhappy. Hera. Suddenly, outside the temple, a voice came. This voice came from the god of war Ares. Ares appeared in midair. Ares stared at the temple of Hera and asked, Goddess Hera, when will the child you are pregnant with be born? Don't tell me you are waiting for the day when God King Zeus returns to Olympus. This question. The gods of Olympus. A scene appeared in front of me. God King Zeus returned from retreat. He summoned the gods with great majesty, just in time to see God Queen Hera give birth to a child with black pupils. Chapter 48. Zeus returns. Hera gave birth to someone else's offspring. If that really happened, that would be the biggest humiliation for the king of Olympus. After all, Hera is the queen of Olympus, even though Zeus has 7 wives. But the real queen of gods is only Hera. Queen of gods Hera. Don't go too far. You and that oriental man should leave. You go to the eastern world. Leave Olympus forever. This is your last dignity as the queen of Olympus. The low voice of Ares, the god of war, echoed in Mount Olympus. As a child abandoned by Hera, he thought that his persuasion at this moment had made the greatest concession. Leave Olympus. Never come back. This is the best outcome for that woman. But Ares did not get any response. Am I just being sentimental after all? Ares' face darkened, and then he shook his head and returned to the temple of the god of war. Olympus. Silence fell. My wife, Aphrodite. If the queen of gods and the Orientals leave Olympus, are you willing to come back to me? As long as you nod, I can pretend that nothing has happened, and even the offspring you gave birth to in the Orientals, I can raise them as my own daughters. Come back, Aphrodite. Suddenly, the howling of the god of fire broke the silence. The servants of the major temples in Olympus were dumbfounded. Hermes couldn't help but complain. Nima, god of fire, can you be a little manly? This is no longer an ordinary turtle. This is the ultimate turtle. A few days passed. Zhou Yuan floated out from the depths of Hera's palace and sat back on Hera's throne. As for the goddesses, they have all fallen asleep. Currently, in the singles event, Zhou Yuan only slightly lost to the goddess of night, Nyx. Boring, the little goddess of night complained. Some people say that the power of love is the greatest power in the world. How can it be boring? If there is no love in this world, how sad it would be. Zhou Yuan smiled and waved his hand to rub a cup of tea and began to taste it. You, this guy, have been more unruly than the previous generation of God King Kronos in Hera's palace in the past few days. Now you are sitting on the throne, pretending to be a serious person. The little goddess of night rolled her eyes at Zhou Yuan. Wow. Zhou Yuan raised his hand again and rubbed out a cheongsam. This dress is pretty good. Advertisement. The eyes of the little goddess of night lit up. I'm going to give it to the goddess of night. Zhou Yuan smiled mysteriously. Give it to me? I don't want it. Humph. The little goddess of night was delighted at first. Then she suddenly realized that Zhou Yuan was talking about the adult goddess of night, and her face turned black on the spot. Oh, the goddess of night went to the westernmost part of Olympus? A titan? A titan who carried the sky on his shoulders. Zhou Yuan sensed the movements of the adult goddess of night and directly possessed her body. Through the eyes of night, he saw a giant who stood tall and proud. The titan, Atlas, one of the few titans who was not sealed and imprisoned by Zeus. Ding. The next second, a familiar voice sounded. Ding. You plundered the Sky Strength entry from the titan Atlas. Sky Strength. Read. This entry effect allows you to shoulder the sky and have the posture of a titan who stands tall and proud. Oh, the posture of a titan who stands tall and proud? It seems not strong enough. Ding. Zhou Yuan's thought just flashed through his mind, and another voice sounded. Ding. You have the creation item. The sky-bearing power item you recently plundered has unlocked a hidden effect. Any part of your body, as small as a hair, can maintain the sky-bearing posture forever, and you will not feel any fatigue. The hidden effect of this item. Zhou Yuan couldn't help but think of the two strange items he had plundered before, one called 100 Heads and the other called Purity. Oh, that's right. There is also an item called 100 Targets. By the way, does 100 Targets have any effect on the Night Goddess Nyx? If the 100 Targets item mutates, is it possible to conceive with just one thought? Gods from other dimensions and other universes can get pregnant. Wow. While Zhou Yuan was thinking, the world suddenly changed, and the boundless dream world emerged. Someone entered his dream world. The night goddess? No, it's not Nyx, the goddess of night. It's an old man riding a cow. The old man riding the cow is gone. Another figure appeared in the dream world. A woman who looks a bit like Demeter, the goddess of fertility. Chapter 49. This woman? Is she the sister of the goddess of abundance? Zhou Yuan thought subconsciously. Ding! You plundered the Dark Seed entry from Persephone, the queen of the underworld. Dark Seed, gold. This entry allows you to plant a Dark Seed every 7 days. The Dark Seed can theoretically produce everything in the world, the area ruled by the Olympian Protoss. The current highest level of Dark Seeds is the God King level, and the highest fruit produced is the God King level. Plundered an entry? This entry seems to have a general effect. Queen of the Underworld. Persephone. Wait. Queen of the Underworld. Hades' wife. Isn't this the daughter of Zeus and the goddess of abundance? Hades is Zeus' brother. Married Zeus' daughter. Hades is also Zeus' son-in-law. There is no human ethics in the Olympian Protoss. How come I am here? This is a dream world. Am I not lying in a cold coffin in the Hades Temple of Hell? The Hades Queen was full of doubts. Lying in a cold coffin in the Hades Temple. Zhou Yuan pondered. The Hades Queen? What does she mean? Is she dead? Is this resurrection from the dead? Come. Chaos God Eye. Zhou Yuan opened the Chaos God Eye, scanned the Hades Queen, and saw some blurry images. But it can still be seen that it was a guy holding a sickle, walking around the coffin where the Hades Queen was lying. Holding a sickle? Could it be the god of death? Did the god of death resurrect Hades' wife at the same time as he revived? No. Hades, the god of the underworld, is in charge of the underworld. The god of death should also be managed by Hades. Wait a minute. The god of death seems to be the son of the goddess of night. Nyx. Are you the god of sleep? It seems wrong. You are an Oriental. You are not from the Olympian goddess. The Hades looked at Zhou Yuan curiously. I know the goddess of plenty. Zhou Yuan smiled mysteriously. Goddess of plenty? You know my mother goddess? Strange. The mother goddess lives in Mount Olympus. Have you, an Oriental, ever been to Mount Olympus? The Hades looked surprised. Advertisement. I have been to more than just Olympus. Zhou Yuan smiled mysteriously again. Originally, he wanted to add another sentence. I also had a goddess party with your mother. Just this one sentence. It's really too rude. Zhou Yuan thinks he is an upright person. Although he is in Olympus, he is not as crazy as the gods of Olympus. Facing this gentle and lovely Hades in front of him, he still has a little moral bottom line. Of course. This is for now. I don't know if there will be any more later. Not only have you been to Olympus, could it be that you have become a subordinate of Zeus and a member of the Olympian Protoss? The Queen of Hades was even more curious. I have added a lot of members to the Olympian Protoss. Zhou Yuan smiled, raised his right hand and waved it casually, and a Chong Sam appeared in his hand. I have added a lot of members to the Olympian Protoss. I don't quite understand. This dress is so special. The Queen of Hades thought subconsciously, and when she saw the Chong Sam in Zhou Yuan's hand, she was instantly attracted by it. Ding! Just as Zhou Yuan was about to give the Chong Sam to the Queen of Hades, a voice suddenly sounded in his mind. Ding! The entry of the Dark Seed you recently plundered has mutated. Dark Seed, mutation from now on. The fruits of the Dark Seeds will no longer be limited by the world range and level. The Dark Seeds you planted have a chance to produce creatures from other dimensions and other universes. The Dark Seeds you planted will produce fruits that are no less than the Divine Emperor level. Entry? Mutated? That's right. Come, plant a Dark Seed. Zhou Yuan thought, and a Dark Seed was planted in the dream world. Dark Seed. Isn't this my divine power? The Queen of Hell was slightly stunned. Wow, dark seed. It took root and sprouted in a second. It bloomed with the naked eye. Then it produced fruit. What will the first dark seed produce? Zhou Yuan was quite curious. Pinch. The fruit opened by itself. Hiss. The Queen of Hell only took a look, and a gentle and lovely face turned pale in an instant. Chapter 50. This thing? The fruit of the first dark seed is a human head? A man's head? It seems that the Queen of the Underworld knows this head. He is the oldest god of love, Eros. He is the original god born at about the same time as the Earth Mother Gaia. How could such an original god have only one head left? More. Why is the fruit of the dark seed the head of the god of love? I can't feel any breath of life from Eros. Queen of the Underworld Persephone, with a look of disbelief, a flash of horror in her eyes. As the daughter of Zeus, as a member of the Olympian gods, in her cognition, original gods cannot be killed. For example, the Earth Mother Gaia. No matter how powerful the god King Zeus is, he can only seal and imprison Gaia. But this dream world, the dark seed planted by this mysterious oriental man, the head of Eros, seems to be completely dead. Eros, the god of love, is this the most handsome god in the history of your Olympian gods? I have to admit that this guy's face is indeed impeccable. Zhou Yuan swept Eros's head with his chaotic eyes. I have to admit it. Eros has a face that attracts both men and women. Aphrodite, the god of love, one of the 12 main gods of Olympus, is perfect in every part of her body, but her face is not as good as the face of Eros in front of her. Is Eros, the god of love, really dead? The Queen of Hades lowered her voice. Ding. The next second, Zhou Yuan heard a beautiful voice. Ding. You plundered the original power of all things from Eros, the god of love. Original power of all things, illusion, Eros, the god of love, is a symbol of affection and love, and is the basic power to create all things at the beginning of the universe. This entry fills you with the basic power to create all things and makes you charming. From now on, any creature that sees you will involuntarily stack their favorability towards you. When the favorability is stacked to a certain level, they will not be able to help but want to get close to you. This I actually plundered a fantasy entry from a head, the driving force of all things. Isn't this the ultimate succubus? Regardless of gender or race. Kill them all. Wow. Suddenly, the head of Eros, the god of love, opened his eyes. What? The Queen of Hades was startled and couldn't help but run behind Zhou Yuan, grabbed Zhou Yuan's sleeve, and carefully showed half of her head. Save me. Save me. I know you can save me. Eros stared at Zhou Yuan with his eyes, and his face, which was so handsome that it was indescribable, began to twist. A stream of black air emerged from his pupils, like tentacles, grabbing Zhou Yuan. Get down. Zhou Yuan flew up and kicked. Eros wailed, and his head was like a ball, kicked out of the dream world by Zhou Yuan's big foot. Advertisement. The Queen of Hades was a little confused. First time seeing someone kicked the head of the original god. This man, that kick he just made. How could he be so handsome? I really want to hug him from behind. Sniff the manly smell on him. Wait a minute. What am I thinking about? I am a family man. Although I don't love Hades, the king of the underworld, but Hades respects me very much after all. The Queen of Hades suddenly woke up. A little panic flashed in her eyes. She slightly tidied her appearance, coughed softly and said, I am leaving your dream world, chatting with you. Makes me very happy. After that, the Queen of Hades was about to turn around and leave. Zhou Yuan grabbed the Queen of Hades with his big hand, pulled her back, and then with a little force, pulled her into his arms. The four eyes met. The Hades Queen was a bit panicked and avoided the gaze. The next moment, she was enveloped by a supreme power that seemed to come from the creation of the universe. Boom. The dream world started to vibrate. After the vibration, then there was the rhythm. A few days later, the Pluto Temple in Hell. My Pluto Queen. A surprise broke the silence of the Pluto Temple. Then, the laughter of Hades, the Lord of Hell, resounded through hell. Haha. My Pluto Queen Persephone is resurrected. My Pluto Queen also gave birth to my offspring. I will announce it to the whole of Olympus. I will let the whole world know.
Thanks for watching. You can find the next videos in the playlist linked in the info card, directly on my channel, or right here on the screen. And as always, if you have any feedback, feel free to share it in the comments too.